We are live. Welcome to episode 49 of the Redman Group. I'm Anthony Dream Johnson, founder of 21 Studios, your host for today's Redman Group episode. The title of this episode is A State of Masculinity. Today on the show with me, I have beyond myself, Donovan Sharp, the Sharp Reality alumni speaker of the 21 Convention, Jonathan from Modern Life Dating, Ryan Stone, the fourth R of the Manosphere, and former/current moderator at Married Red Pill, depending on whether or not his account exists. And finally, the godfather of the Red Pill himself, Rollo Tomasi, legendary author of the Rational Male book series and ambassador speaker for the 21 Convention. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me on today's episode.
As always.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Pleasure to be here.
Oh, yeah. The Red Pill Avengers unite once again for the 49th time.
Assemble.
Oh, we're already on episode 49.
I know, right? We've been doing this over a year now. Because didn't we start it? Did we start it in January last year?
January or February. We're getting really close. We should check. We should check the date. Yeah,
that's funny. We should. Yeah, I know. We should check the date and then like do the annual like issue or something like that.
It's coming up. Episode 50, man.
Yeah. So 50, 52, and then we got a year, right? I mean, we did more though. We did like 3 in a row for the convention.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're getting close though.
Could be 49. Actually, technically 49 would have been it, right?
Well, with that said, let's get into today's roundup. 3 minutes a pop, gentlemen. Yes. What do you guys have going on?
Speed roundup. I'll go real quick. Okay. Because I always go the longest. As you can tell, I've got a new mic right here. So I have decided to up my game for the new year. And I also have a new lighting rig. So if I look a little more clear and crispier and sexier, that's why I have this new. Actually, it's cool because it will give me like cool light or warm light or whatever. It's pretty nice. And I decided to put some money into it. At some point, I'm considering actually moving out of this office in here. This is my art studio, but I'm going to move out of here and probably have a dedicated background and do something like you guys have been doing, because I've been doing this a lot more lately, which is my first order of business. I was on Pat Campbell's show yesterday. We were talking about Jeff Bezos and probably some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, so I won't get into that too much. I did hand off the live link to Pat Campbell, and he might join us today. I'm not sure. However, we've been talking about the state of masculinity, and that's going to be the topic of this show today. That's what we talked about kind of a little bit yesterday on the Friday morning show, which I do every Friday morning, 9:05 Eastern. Just check my Twitter feed if you ever want to see that. I have a post on my blog right now, which is actually exploding as far as the comments are concerned, about the APA, the American Psychological Association, guidelines for how to create even more toxically masculine men. And tomorrow on Sunday, I do a show with Pat, which is our Red Pill 101, which we'll still be doing. But I've also got a new show that's in the wings right now. I'm calling it the Red Pill and Religion, and I've got Dr. Paul Maxwell coming on with me tomorrow. It'll be in the evening. If you just go check my channel and you'll get the times and everything. I have it set up. We're going to be talking about how the Red Pill is kind of like what I've been doing with my book. The topic's going to be a lot of the stuff that you're going to find in the 4th book that I'm working on right now. And I kind of wanted to get that going because I wanted to get a dialogue going to sort of, just sort of to help that along, because I don't plan on publishing until probably October. But that is a show that's going to kind of circulate around that, because I don't think there is any shows that really do that. There are some like Christian shows that kind of like try to toy with, they kind of poke at the Red Pill, and it doesn't really work. And so I kind of saw a need for something like that. So I'm doing that. And then I've got my own gig that I'm occasionally doing right now on the channel, which is just sort of my own show, The Rational Male, or the Rollo Tomasi show. I haven't even really titled it or anything, but I did something with Andrew Tate on Monday. And if you have not seen that show, just go see that show, because that ended up becoming that was a fun show. So if you want 2 hours of just, talking about game and just two guys bullshit, and that was a lot of fun. So go check that out. Yeah. All right. I'm done.
Cool. Perfect. Next up, Ryan, what do you got? What's up?
All right. We got a lot on the go, so we'll try and get through it quick. First off, for the Patreon people, links up top here in the ticker. Going to do Redman Recap, where we take a lot of the topics we talk about here in case we miss some things or gloss over it and you maybe want some background. Sign up for that, $5 a month. I do some casts. The one today is set up for 1600 Eastern Standard Time. On that one here, it made some huge strides on the newsletter. I'm going to walk it back from 6 days a week to 5 because after the Red Man Group and the Red Man Group recap, it really is a little bit too much to have to re-say the same things for a third time. So we're going to pop that back down to 5 days a week. Just got over the series where I talked about my experience with a bipolar chick and the reason why vetting your wife or vetting her is really not a solid strategy. The gist of it there was that bipolar women are able to fit the niche of what you want because they're very good at reading people. So whatever you vet for, that's what she's going to fill the role of. Next stop there, YouTube just released faux fa. one of my favorite dishes. I love this one. So for those who don't know, I'm married to a vegan, and it's been a bit of a challenge learning how to change because meat's very easy to make taste delicious. It's very difficult to make shitty vegan food taste good. So we finally got a system there, and I'm imparting it onto you guys as well. It's going to be some good, fairly healthy. Then, as always, rocking out with Twitter.
To be clear, too, this is the #1 cooking show in the manosphere right now, right?
Straight up.
Default, the greatest 2 words in the English language. I won by default. And then beyond that, as always, there's the Twitter and there's the Instagram. Continuing on taking the clients right now. That's keeping me fairly busy. I accidentally set up some discount codes for more than the 2 clients I was trying to replace. So now I've got a completely full schedule right now. I love doing it because I know I'm fixing men, but at the same time, it's kind of emotionally draining. Like, I really got to give some props to Dr. Smith there because hearing about some of these situations, it's hard not to offload a bit of that onto you. So, but I mean, it's very rewarding, and that's what I got on the go now.
Kick ass. Jonathan, what's up, maybe? How you doing?
Doing great. And what have I had going on lately? Absolutely nothing. I took a vacation, took a much needed sabbatical, hiatus, whatever you want to call it. Did a little bit of work on my mobile app, which I'm still working on. Ran into a little bit of a snag trying to keep my my identity and any of my proprietary information completely private. So I'm working on some solutions in the background there. So that may delay the app for maybe a week or so, but not too much. But other than that, man, I've just been chilling out on vacation, pretty much doing nothing but lifting, watching TV, just kind of decompressing. I'll be ready to roll. Everything is going to be back to normal on Monday. I'll be back on the air Monday through Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Right after the show, I'm just going to sort of end things with a bang. Taking my girl to Atlantic City, which is basically the caffeine-free diet Las Vegas. But hey, it's better than nothing. So we're going to go out there, have some fun, do a little bit of gambling, do some fine dining, have some fun there. And I'll be back at it on Monday.
All right, Jonathan, what's up? Can you unmute yourself? I muted you temporarily to check an audio issue. You're back.
All right. Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah.
Good.
Just got back from the United States, had a nice little 10-day vacation in the great state of Wyoming and Colorado. Wyoming was better than Colorado, probably because it went red on the electoral map. But things are going cool on my end. Actually, so for the guys, on January 21st, I'm launching the morning show. It's going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern time. It is a call-in show. It's going to be called Interview with a Man, where I will be interviewing men who are in the red pill manosphere. So any man who wants to come, including men on this panel. This show was inspired by Donovan Sharp. And so you can catch me in the morning and catch Donovan at night. The body language the body language program that I'm coming out with has already hit a pretty considerable number of pre-sales. That's coming out in February. And in the meantime, for all you guys who want to see me, and I do live shows on Instagram, which is at Modern Life Dating, no space. You guys see me. I'm the meme lord on Instagram. And I also do a cooking show. Ryan has the best cooking show on YouTube. I have a cooking show on Instagram called Cooking with a Hot Dude. So check me out, and I'm ready to get this thing going.
Hashtag stash. Hashtag porn stash.
Kick ass.
That's the authority mustache, baby. The authority mustache.
The Mission Impossible mustache. I like it. I like it.
That's it.
Rep in Orlando, dude. Fuck yeah. So with me, I'll go
Yes,
quickly
sir.
here at the end of the roundup here. So I've had a lot going on this week. Earlier this week, we published the first free preview clip from a speech at the 21 Convention 2018. You know, a few months ago we held in Orlando. It was a clip of Rollo, of course, and his State of the Manosphere address, and it was focused on Me Too and how it's a control and segregation movement. It has hit really hard on our channel. It's been a very positive, strong response. It's gotten a shit ton of. It did 5,000 views in 24 hours, which for a 5-minute video on our channel is like really strong. For a speech, maybe we would expect that, but for a little clip like that, it was a very positive response. I was excited to see that. And everyone's excited. People are joining 21 University to watch it for free. And we'll be publishing the full talk, more preview clips soon, like today and tomorrow. And then the full speech will go out on our YouTube channel at 21 Studios about January 23rd, 22nd to coincide with Trump's State of the Union address. I will say that the State of the Manosphere is strong, and I'm excited to put that keynote address out. It was my favorite talk of the event, seeing Rollo up there kicking ass. So happy to see it go out in full very soon. In the meantime, yeah, you can get it at 21 University. Earlier this week, I also announced on, thanks to Richard Cooper on his channel, Entrepreneurs in Cars, me, Rollo, Rich Cooper, George Bruno, and Hunter Drew announced the Patriarch Convention. So the 21 Convention Patriarch Edition, we announced. It's the world's ultimate event for fathers by fathers. It will be an all-fathers speaking lineup that's going to be held in Orlando, Florida, a special 2-day event this spring. I've also been touring venues. That's a third event, too, of course, to the other two we have this year in Poland and Florida, the Woodstock of the Manosphere later in the year. Also, I've been touring venues all week for a few weeks now, and especially this past week, and that's been pretty exciting. Getting walkthrough tours and management at these hotels, picking out my favorite one based on different requirements and variables I look at. I'm pretty excited. And we're going to have a bigger and better venue this year for all the events in Florida, the two, than we have ever had. They are beautiful, they're massive, they're huge, and it's going to be fucking awesome. I'm really excited. They're going to be true like next level stuff too for us, like better venues than we've ever had. I also got to help multi-stream the other night and then kick off the Patriarchs edition of the Redman group. I was not on that one because I'm not a father, but I was very helpful or happy to see that kick off and glad I could help out and see, you know, Rich, Rollo, Hunter Drew, Tex Dom on it, all you guys. And to see that co-occurring now, you know, every few weeks on the Redman group channel is awesome on Thursdays. Finally, I mean, we got Rollo and Rich coming into town later this month. I've been prepping for a few weeks now for that. We got a lot of shit going on. We got fishing trips.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're like renting Lamborghinis and shit. Like, it's gonna be a lot of shit, man. Oh, final thing too, like Rollo here, we're actually investing in a lot of live streaming equipment and filming equipment, lighting equipment for the conventions this year, so we can pay-per-view live stream them at the event. And I'm actually not gonna be able to use that at my house too. So my filming setup's gonna upgrade like Rollo's did instead of the shitty webcam I have and this little like snowball or whatever this mic is, Yeti mic. So this boy's treated me pretty well, but it's time he got retired, and I got some real shit up in there.
Got to upgrade. Branch swing like these bitches out here.
Oh, 100%, dude. Opportunistic, hypergamy, 100%, dude.
All engaged.
With that said, that's what I have going on at 21 Studios Global Command. And fuck yeah. Actually, the last thing too, Elliot Hulse retweeted or reshared one of my posts of the day on Instagram. Well, I don't really use my Instagram much, so I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Elliot's a good dude.
Yeah. It was actually funny because I retweeted that from Jonathan. So really, he was like double retweeting or resharing it, whatever. Anyway, let's get off me. Let's get off.
Hey, I actually got it. I was gonna say I got huge influx of traffic from that because I wrote the copywriting for that, and I woke up and I was like, my DMs were full, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Elliot Hulse retweeted that, which you retweeted. So thank you, because that got huge traffic for me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, dude, it's like Instagram bukkake, dude. Shit just fucking goes all over the place.
Hashtag hot dude life, right?
I'm all about it. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Now, another thing too, last thing is Jack Donovan is also, I talked to him through DM a lot on Instagram, and he has actually come out. He's very, very encouraging for what we do. He loves our conferences, and he's not a father, but he's excited to be, I think he might attend the Patriarch event in the spring.
That'd be
just to
great.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I offered to fly him out and give him a hotel and everything like a regular speaker. So
That's good,
Yeah,
man. It's good to have him on there because, like, I think what we talked about back in December when we were talking about, what we can see coming down the road here for 2019. We were talking about multi-generational mentorship. I think that's something like any guy can do, and I think Jack, really, his books are mentorship as it is. I mean, it's what he writes about as far as masculinity. I've never read anybody who has defined like conventional masculinity as well as Jack Donovan has.
agreed. Yeah, I love how whoa. Yeah, he put a post up too, just kind of supporting all the speakers at the event. Put a picture of himself from the event in Orlando recently, and that was unprovoked. I didn't ask him to do that. He just kind of went out, swinging for us. And it reminded me that even though he's not on Twitter with all of us constantly talking, among each other like we do, like him and Dr. Glover are both very strong supporters of the Manosphere, of the Red Pill now, and of 21Con, and the Redman Group and everything. So it's cool to see that on other networks, other platforms, and speakers who are pretty tuned in, but not 100% like we are on a day-to-day basis. So I was excited to see that. Like Elliot Hulse, he seems to be kind of moving in that direction too. That's fucking awesome. He's a huge influencer, and to have him join and support and share what we do it's powerful. It's gonna help us reach millions and millions more, which is what we need. Feminism must die. With that said, let's get into today's topic, the state of masculinity. So recently, of course, I'd like Rollo to dig into this because I'm not super familiar with it, but I have read the basics of it. The APA, the American Psychological Association, I believe is the title of it, put out this huge shit show of a piece on how masculinity, old school conventional masculinity, is just toxic. It wasn't really that surprising, I guess, in the end. It's like, all right, what else is new? But it also reminded me of the American Bar Association when they came out against Brett Kavanaugh. You see a huge organization like this with a lot of like lingering or like momentum credibility in it, and they throw all the principles, all their ethics out the window. They were even warned, I think, that this is like very unscientific, like just pseudoscience. It's like complete crap. They published it anyway.
Oh.
So Rollo, can you dig into that a bit more?
Sure.
I think you put a post up on it, right?
Yeah, I had to write it. It's funny as I'll get like involved in writing like something else, and then some like story like this will come up, and I have to like drop everything and write. So this is another one of those occasions. But the reason I felt that way is because a lot of the stuff that I talked about in my State of the Manosphere address back in October at the 21 convention, I made some predictions in there. On the 29th, right before New Year's, we all got together on this show and we started, kind of saying what we expect to see in 2019 and 2020. We even had DDJ on here who was talking about, like he and I pretty much conferred that the Democrats are going to run a female candidate this year. We're already seeing that. We're already seeing, I didn't expect it to happen like the next month, but we're already seeing a lot of the stuff that we were talking about in that show already, at least the larval stage of it right now. I think going forward, you're going to see just how belligerent I think the feminine imperative is going to become in the coming years. And this guidelines or this issuance, it's almost like, it's funny I think a lot of people don't really appreciate how important or how significant it is for the APA, which is the governing body. I wish I had Dr. Sean Smith here because he could probably elaborate a little bit better than I can on this. I tried to get him on this show, but he had something else that he had to do. But I don't think people really appreciate just how significant those guidelines are, because what that does is it sort of sets the framework or the scaffolding for any clinical psychologist, any psychologist that is a practicing psychologist, that's the guidelines that they're supposed to follow, or those are the official ones. And if they don't, then they risk censure. They risk losing their license. I mean, even Dr. Smith was just saying he's put out a few tweets about this that were very critical, and I think he might be having some. I think he's doing his own show right now. He did a video, I think, talking about this, but just talking about it and coming out against it risks his license. He risks being, kind of like disbarred from, being able to practice psychology because he doesn't agree with the APA's guidelines when it comes to masculinity. And I thought that, I mean, that was pretty significant. That's why I had to kind of go back to that, because a lot of the stuff that I talked about in the State of the Manosphere address were elements of this, is that we're going to see going forward, official bodies, or, governing bodies of certain parts of our society, and psychology is one big part of that, coming out and pretty much announcing their allegiance with the feminine imperative. And like, it just broke my heart, because that day that this had come out, I think I got at least 2 different emails from guys. And I sent this to you and Anthony and Rich, the guy who was telling me how he was planning to kill himself. And he found my work through Rich, because he'd gone to Rich's channel and started listening to him. He's been listening to this show here. I might be listening right now, but I got a really nice email from the guy, just basically saying, thank you for giving me my life back. And it's those guys right there that this guideline hurts. It's those guys who are going to put a noose around their neck, because everybody's saying it's your fault. You're toxically masculine. Gender is a social construct. You just need to learn how to rein in your toxic masculinity. And basically, that's what this guideline is. It's an official declaration of the American Psychology Association deciding that they're on board with intersectional feminism. And that's what this is. And so I wanted to talk about that today, but I mean, I think that'll be a good starting point here. But I think we need to kind of discuss maybe we should have done this show like after my State of the Manosphere address, kind of dropped, after what we're going to drop it after Trump's State of the Union address, right?
Yeah, right around the same time.
Right around there, but unfortunately, these guidelines came out earlier, and so I want to hit this right now, because I think it needs to be something that not just myself has something to say about it. I think it needs to be something that everybody in the Manosphere, certainly everybody who's associated with the Red Man Group, certainly anybody who's associated in the Manosphere from a intersexual dynamics perspective, needs to really come out against. I was talking to there's a couple of other things here I wanted to get into. Dr. Helen Smith, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's kind of one of these conservative, she wrote Men on Strike. Yeah, she wrote that book. And she's hit me up on her blog a few times, but I've never really spoken one-on-one with her. But she's come out saying, why guys are sketchy about getting married right now. And people will only listen to her. They won't listen to somebody like me. They won't listen to somebody like Turd Flinging Monkey. They won't listen to somebody who has pretty much dedicated a good portion of their lives to understanding this stuff and writing about this stuff, because I'm male, right? Yeah. If a woman does it, if a woman says the same things, then suddenly it's legitimate and it's okay, because anytime a guy comes out and starts talking about the state of masculinity, it's because he's projecting. It's because he's toxically masculine. It's because he must be jealous of somebody, or it's a million different reasons for it. And it's all those reasons come back to one thing, is like, it's misogyny. If that guy is talking about it, it's misogynist.
And homophobia too and stuff. I was thinking that because 21Con and the Red Man Group would be labeled, homophobic and all this shit. And yet we've had gay speakers. I've had, gay speaker Jack Donovan speak at our conference repeatedly. Oh. And yet they would still come at you saying you're misogynistic, you're homophobic, all this fucking bullshit. They're losers without arguments, is how I see it.
Well, that was one of the reasons why I came out hard against neo-masculinity when Roosh decided that was going to be his, his topic du jour back 4 or 5 years ago, right? Because of that, because he wanted to exclude homosexuals, he wanted to exclude certain races, he wanted to exclude certain, and I'm like, that is nowhere near what I want to be about, right? I mean, I think that any man can relate something about his own masculine experience as a man in this world, in this lifetime, for himself, whether that guy is gay, whether that guy is from India or, Southeast Asia or whatever, or wherever, whether he's a black guy, whether he's a white guy, I don't care. I want that information because, as it said in 48 Laws of Power, isolation is dangerous. And when you cut yourself off from stuff, you don't have access to information that would probably make you a better man to begin with.
Another angle too is that it's anti-intellectual and it's like irrational. I mean, ideas are ideas and truth is truth. Whether Jack Donovan's gay, bi, straight, black, white, bald, fat, skinny, whatever the fuck, ideas are ideas. And when Rouge put that out in Neo-Masculinity, I agree with you. It's all the power stuff and all the stupid shit, but it's also him being a dumbass, but it's also just like, it's fiercely irrational is what it is.
Well, if you read The Way of Men, if you read Becoming a Barbarian, if you read, I'm just going to go with those two books. If you go read those two books, they will give you a concrete outline of what I call conventional masculinity from my third book. Because people kept saying, well, what is conventional masculinity? How come you don't use traditional? The reason I don't, that's the thing about the APA ruling, is that they want to paint traditional masculinity, which is, of course, conservative, patriarchal, whatever that, any negative connotated word or term that they can come up with to associate with that kind of masculinity. That's what they mean by traditional masculinity. And that's one of the reasons why I don't use the term traditional. I use the term conventional, because I believe that there are aspects of masculinity that are unique to males of the human species. Okay. Because gender is not a social construct. It is a biologically inspired set of behaviors and set of strategies, and it's like it defines the male experience, right? Because that's who we are. It's the way our brains are structured. So the hormones that we have run through our bodies, right? Is there a social aspect to gender? Sure, there is, but you have to understand that you don't get to that social aspect without there being the basis of the biological and the evolved aspects of gender. That's why I'm always going to be gender binary. There's always male and female. Whatever you want to imagine from that point, you still have to take into consideration that your body is a certain way and it's influencing your ideas when it comes to gender. That is what this ruling is throwing out the window. This ruling, anything about intersexual feminism is always based on social constructionism. Social constructionism. And that's why I had a really tough time with neo-masculinity, because when I was reading The Way of Men or Becoming a Barbarian, that had given me a better definition or a better outline of what conventional masculinity is than anything I ever read from neo-masculine. Neo-masculinity was just a flash in the pan, right? Because it was just something that Rouge was using to sort of sell to move him on to the next thing. And there's a lot of guys. I don't want to pick on just Rouge, because there's a lot of guys that do that as well. They're outrage brokers.
It's marketing. It was just a marketing thing. Yeah. I forget what the concept's called, but it's this rebranding. It's like a personalization of like the red pill is what he did just to sell it, and then of course it went nowhere. So
and the reason that I have to like sort of come out against stuff like that is because of things just like this. Because a governing body for the American Psychology, or the American Psychology Association, the APA, comes out and they tell pretty much every single psychologist that is on their their approved list, this is how we want you to deal with men and men's problems. This is how we. I mean, if you read there was a New York Times article, of course, written by a woman, the summation of the guidelines written by a woman. If you go and you look at, I think it was Dr. Helen Smith was saying that I think it's something like 65 to 70% of clinical psychologists are female, and that has exploded since 2007. So I think in 2007 it was 52% of psychologists were female. In 2016, it is something like 66 to 70%, somewhere around there. I'll throw it out here in just a second, but that's huge. That's a huge jump in just that time.
Man, that's like the same number of women who initiate divorce.
Mm-hmm. And so I can't. Yeah, exactly. And I can't in good. And I hate to say this because I really think Dr. Sean Smith is doing God's work, right? Because I have guys like when we were at the 2017 and 2018, I had guys come up to me and say that their therapist used my book in his therapy practice. And I'm like, that guy's on board, but he is risking his livelihood. He's risking his future of being able to make money by using my book in his practice because of this. And that's how serious this shit is. That's why when I see, people trying to tell me what masculinity is or isn't, it's important that we have a good concept of what it is, because you're never going to get that in the mainstream. You're never going to hear this from a mainstream, from somebody who is part of that organization, what we call the village, right? You're never going to get that. And so, like, when I'm talking to guys, and I'm sure everybody on here has been, counseling or coaching or whatever you want to talk about, like guys who come to you and they have problems and they don't know where else to go. And the reason they don't know where else to go is because every psychologist that they have talked to has pretty much pussed out on them. They're the people that are following along with this. And so everybody who is on this panel today, and some more, because I know Donovan has somebody that he coaches. I know that Ryan certainly does. But it's like, when guys, and I do too, but when guys come to me and they ask me, like some serious questions, and it's like sort of beyond my scope, I can no longer refer those guys to, I can't say go and find a psychologist, man. This is sort of out of not my wheelhouse. This is out of my scope of what I can help you with. But I can't just throw them to the wolves. And that's what I feel like I would be doing right now. And so, just to sort of end this off here, is I think that going forward from here, we're going to, in the Red Pill, we're going to have to create our own social order. We're going to have to say, you know what, we reject the bullshit of the village. We reject the bullshit of the APA. We reject the feminist bullshit of, the Democratic Party. We reject the bullshit of pretty much anything that has to do with the feminine imperative. And, maybe that's Hollywood, maybe that's a media, maybe that's whatever, but we have to find some way as positively masculine, conventionally masculine men to help these guys. One of the reasons I started the Rational Male was because I had to deal with some suicides that were based on exactly the same shit that they're saying is toxic. That these guys, they even blow it off. They're like, oh well, men are killing themselves at 5 times the rate of females, and of course they want to say, well, women try to kill themselves more, but men succeed more, right? And so they've still got to turn it around. They still got to make you think about, well, men kill themselves a lot, but women try more, and that just blows me away that would even be an issue. But they have to sort of circle it around, because it's always about the feminine.
I mean, if you really want to put the twist the knife on that one, it's like there's competence, masculine competence versus women trying it and failing. Mm-hmm. It's a really harsh way to put it, and there could be other things with it too. Obviously, impulsivity, the emotions of it, the attention grabbing, but yeah. Another thing I wanted to say too with that, based on what you were saying a few minutes ago, Rollo, there's an old philosophic statement. I forget who said it, and but you guys have probably heard it before, that nature to be commanded is to be obeyed. And when I see the APA like giving out this ruling and distributing this kind of information, it's like these people have completely abandoned a respect for nature, a respect for biology, a respect for biological sexes, the two, male and female. It's just like, it's stupid beyond stupid. It's irrational. And they know it, and they were told that. I think I saw some people tweeting, maybe it was Jeffrey Miller or someone like that. But yeah, just totally brazenly irrational. But that's Donovan. Did you want to hop in too? Rollo?
Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick to add to what Rollo was talking about earlier, and then I'll get into this APA thing. Is the reason why men are met with opposition when we talk about when we keep it 100 about interpersonal, intersexual relationships between men and women, is because we're the ones doing the talking. It's just like, don't talk shit about my family. I talk shit about my family. If somebody listen, I can talk shit about my brother or sister or mom or dad, but if somebody else does that, I'm going to fuck you up. I can talk shit about my dog, but you can't talk shit about my dog. It's just like the N-word. White people can say the word nigger all they want to. It's that is protected under your First Amendment right to freedom of speech. That doesn't mean you have freedom from consequences. And a lot of people ask, well, why can't white people say the N-word? Well, white people can say the N-word, but the reason why black people get offended and all crazy about it is because there's no relationship there, right? Like if I'm out and some other woman calls me baby or honey or sweetie, Devin's going to have a problem with that. Why? Because that woman doesn't have a relationship with me like she does. I can call him baby, sweetie, etc., but you can't, because you don't have that relationship. Well, that's the way women feel. You can't talk shit about women. You can't point out uncomfortable truths about women, but we can because we're women. The problem is women don't do it in ways that help each other. And this is why this is why we still have a sad state of affairs with dating and relationships in America. As far as the APA's ruling is concerned, they tried to sort of coin this as mental health. And I'll take you also to professional sports. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, steroids, HGH, all that stuff is banned. The reason why it's banned is because it makes men more masculine, bigger, faster, stronger. Anything that gives men more of an advantage than we already have, that is going to be shunned by the gynocentric media, the gynocentric culture. Men are the superior sex. There's no question about it. Women know it. Men know it. Women know that women know that men know it, and women know that we know that they know it, if you want to go back and forth with that. So all of this grandstanding and all of this squawking that they do, women know that we are the superior sex, no matter what they say, do, whatever study. So when studies like these come out that say masculinity is a mental health issue, all they are trying to do, and I'm not a psychologist, I'm not Rollo Tomasi, I'm not Dr. Sean T. Smith, but what this is this is literally making men afraid to be men. Well, I don't want to be the traditionally or whatever word Rollo is. I don't want to be that kind of masculine man because I don't want to be diagnosed with a mental illness. What this is going to end up doing is this is going to end up fucking up our school-aged boys even more than they already are. Well, little Johnny over there is exhibiting, I don't know, what's he doing over there? Wait, he's jumping off the swings. He's, playing rambunctiously with his classmates. They're playing wall ball. They're chasing each other. Ooh, you know what? Little Johnny has masculinitis. We need to medicate him so that he doesn't continue. So this mental health issue doesn't continue to progress. Before you know it, little Johnny is not little Johnny anymore. Now Johnny at 16 thinks he wants to be Jonna because the world is telling him that being a man is toxic and that it's some sort of a mental illness. People inherently want to be accepted by society. We can all admit, hey, we do care about what other people think to some degree. The more you care about what other people think, of course, the less mental strength you have. But I digress. What this comes down to, masculinity means intelligence. It means physical and mental strength, deductive reasoning, decision-making, competitive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these things make men better. So what the APA is telling you is don't tap into what makes you a man. We got a lot of males running around here, but not too many men, right? Anatomically, you're a man. You've got maybe higher testosterone than most women, although that is probably suspect at this point. But this is fucking amateur hour, guys. Everybody knows this is all bullshit. Women who read this, oh, look at this, masculinity is a mental health issue. You fucking bitch, you know that's not true. That's not even close to true. But women endorse it. Why? Because it gives women a continued advantage over men in that they get to pick and choose which bits of masculinity they want to exploit and which parts they want to criminalize. Okay, we like this part of masculinity, so we're not going to criminalize that. But wait a minute, this man is actually vetting women. He's basing his long-term decisions with women based on her past. Oh, no. This is toxic masculinity. This needs to be stopped. You, sir, you, Donovan Sharp, you have a mental illness because you don't want to be with fat chicks. Donovan Sharp, Ryan Stone, you have a mental illness because you hold women accountable for their actions. The only toxic masculinity that is exhibited in America comes from females. That's it. There's no toxic masculinity exhibited by men. The only toxic masculinity is exhibited by females. And that's exactly what this bullshit APA report points to.
Now, feminists are the ultimate control freaks.
Yes.
Like this is an example of them exerting themselves into an organization that's got an annual budget of like $100 million. People actually at least used to listen to them. And then they inject all this irrational, unscientific bullshit that defies common sense. Like, it's just fucking dumb.
And the reason why it's effective to women is because women don't trade in common sense. They trade in emotion. And that works great if you're selling the iPhone 19.5X VR. But when it comes to defining masculinity and what's okay and what's not, no, that's not going to fly.
Well, it's not even emotion. It's deferring to authority. And the whole thing, the overarching theme of this thing is the justification of male distrust in public institutions. Yep. I think, Donovan, you hit a good point when you were talking about testing for testosterone. Had the same thing. Like, I was telling stories about how when I tried to get the test, like, they needed my girl to okay it. As soon as I even mentioned getting a blood test, they started talking about
Really?
how I was going to get cancer and shoot men up in a school or something stupid like that. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So they made you get permission from your wife.
The doctor looked over at her and waited for her to nod before she even agreed to do the test, which she screwed up anyway.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Holy fuck.
People give me so much shit when I say that women see men either as a breeding opportunity or as a draft animal. And this is
how do you,
it's funny you say that, because like whenever like I'm moving money around, like for like my retirement or stuff like that, when I'm moving large sums of money, they want your wife's signature on it too. It could be all of it can be in your name, but if you're married, they want your wife's signature because they're covering their ass. The same thing with vasectomies. If you're married, the doctor wants to cover his ass because he doesn't want your wife to come and sue him for actually performing that vasectomy.
And I could rant about that for hours. I'll save you guys the trouble here so I don't kill the mic time. But if you've read the 10 guidelines, and this is where I always say the gender war is over and women have won. Women defer to authority here. And the purpose of this is not, and there's not some big war room deciding this thing happened. Just women have established that if they can establish the influence, then that 60% of female psychologists are naturally going to defer to this. If you read the guidelines, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are ideological. And it's not unknown, because Chris Ferguson, he was one of the members of the APA who was actually on the council who decided on this. He let a wonderful document out that lays out his problems with it. And it's pretty much exactly as you'd expect. The first half of it is ideological. The fact that they put advocacy as one of their main goals and not treatment. As well as, and I hate to say it, it's got, you guys remember when Bush made the soft bigotry of low expectations comment back in the 80s?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
That's what this is. If you read through this, and maybe I'm reading too far into it, but a lot of it describes that black men, and they use the hidden language where you kind of know where they're going. Black men, single moms, make this hyper masculinity that's very toxic. So we need to encourage fathers to stay at home, completely ignoring how they got kicked out of the home to begin with. And then treating
or the
everything
fact that some chick was spreading her legs for fucking Alpha Chad with 3 baby daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
It's at the point now that they need to treat these guys, and one of their treatments is to tell guys to man up and stick around even though you've been kicked out of your kid's life, which is kind of
better slave. Be a better slave. Yep.
Well, that's what this is why, people give me so much grief for this shit, because they think you're a reactionary. They think you're like flying off the handle here. But I'm watching the chat here, and yes, this is the sisterhood uber alles. This is what it is. Women, whatever benefits women. That's why when I was first started writing, I needed some kind of term for the village, for the sisterhood, for the feminine imperative. The feminine imperative to me anyways is like whatever best benefits womankind and women's sexual strategies, women's life strategies, whether that's from a biological aspect or a sociological aspect. It is no secret that when you look at, like, here's a really good example. When you look at how Me Too has spread across the globe, it's not just a Western culture thing. If you go, you will find Me Too in China, you will find Me Too in Korea, you will find Me Too in pretty much any of the Western European nations right now. You'll find it all over the place. And even if it's not called Me Too, it's called something else. But it's like there's this instant recognition of it's like the victim's quandary, right? It's like you understand you have this kindred spirit, right? If you're a woman, well, we're all oppressed, young sister. So it's always this kind of, it's almost like a sociologist or socialist kind of idea.
And the only thing I'll add to that, Rollo, is because I know a lot of people will take that to think there's some war room conspiracy with some Illuminati in a room.
Yeah.
And this is going to be my Carl moment here, but it's emergent decision making. The idea is that women always choose women over men, and men usually choose women over men.
Yep.
And so with that goal of what's best for women, all these little decisions will drive in that direction, even without a main idea that's driving behind it.
Yeah, people have hit me up that too. That's what they say.
And then, last thing.
Go ahead.
All right, I was going to say, last thing on this was guideline 7 is the one that really bothers me. Like, the psychologists are really, like, the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. When they're talking about the strive to reduce the high rates of problem boys and men face and act out in their lives, such as aggression, violence, substance abuse, and suicide. When you read through the thing, it doesn't read like they're trying to fix men or help men. They're just trying to get men to act right. So it's the equivalent of a methadone clinic that's not trying to get guys off of heroin. It's just trying to get you to use enough heroin that you'll still show up to your job and take care of your kids, even though you're kicked out of the house. And I think it's belittling. Like, any guy reading this,
It sounds like the APA has become a cult, is what it sounds like.
Well, that's the
They've been
weird thing
they've
too,
been
because I
assimilated.
read government policy documents. This is not a policy document. Policy documents have huge amounts of descriptions. They're almost autistic in their level of detail.
Oh my!
Oh, I'm not even joking. Like they articulate everything. There's definitions, and I mean, there's sysmail in here, which is ridiculous. What this reads like is the brochure you give to the public about a government change.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of worried somewhere there is a very in-depth document that describes all these things, or there's not, and we're literally walking forward with pamphlet level psychiatric help. And the second one worries me more than anything.
I wonder too, we need to get DDJ in here about this, because I wonder how much APA guidelines and stuff like this can influence court cases, child custody, divorce stuff, like all kinds of shit. I'm sure it does.
Sean, I was talking to Dr. Smith on this. He did say that the academic side is most certainly going to be influenced in this, and not in a good way. But he still believes in the goodness of the on-the-ground shrinks that are probably going to ignore it. But that's really, like I said, the deferring to authority thing, that's probably going to mean 40% of shrinks may, but that 60% of women will most likely defer to it.
Then we need to make fun of them because they're all fucking losers when they do.
Hey, and this is good news for us. Like all of our consulting here is going to take a huge boon, because it's now a rare thing for a guy to have honesty from his professional and trust.
Yeah,
and actually him as their benefits. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to like emphasize and on this show, is that this is coming. And if you guys, especially for everybody on this panel and anybody on the Red Man Group and anybody in the Manosphere who promotes themselves as a quote unquote red pill coach, right? Wink, wink. But those guys are going to see an influx of these guys, because these guys are suicidal. And it's like, for me to say, I'm not a suicide counselor. I mean, I've dealt with that before. I could probably help you with that, but I'm not a suicide counselor. Okay. I can tell you why you feel suicidal. I can tell you I can tell you all of the things, from a masculine perspective as to why you feel the way you do, but they don't care about that anymore. They don't care if men kill themselves. I mean, that is exactly what this is saying. It might as well just write it.
Only
we
in
don't
such
care
that it affects everybody else.
Yeah. And so that's going to affect everybody in the Manosphere, and we need to be prepared for it.
Let's get Jonathan in here. Jonathan, how you doing, buddy? What do you got input here?
I'm just taking it all in. Look, I have a completely different opposite perspective. Honestly, I just see this APA move is just a desperation move, man. I ultimately believe that we are going to win this shit. I think that we are on the side of truth, and the truth always comes out. At the end of the day, these APA guys, the only reason they're trying to target men, the only reason they're trying to do all this crap is because men provide a real threat to their organization in regards to, like, look, I have my degree. I have a bachelor's in science and psychology, and I got out of psychology. I decided not to pursue my PhD because a big part of psychology is pushing drugs on people. Okay, there's no money in curing people. The money is in the medicine. And that's what they want to do. They want to put these guys on drugs. They want to keep you drugged up, so you have to come back. It's a subscription model of profit. You keep taking your antidepressants. You keep taking your Xanax. You keep taking whatever. They never cure you, but if you take the pills, you're good to go. So I just think, in this APA thing, I read through it, and they said most men reject the psychology treatments of today. They say, traditional men reject it. And that's because guys who have common sense know that they're just going to bring you in this room and just try to, for lack of a better word, just like pussy you up and just be like, get in tune with your feelings. But really what they want to do is just make you a complacent lamb. And the fact that the American Psychological Association has come forward and said this, I personally see it as a move of weakness. All right. And another thing, like, you guys talk about testosterone and everything being banned and whatnot in the West. You got to realize that I live outside of the West and I see a whole other world. Like in Japan, you can walk down the road with the fucking syringe of steroids sticking out of your arm. It's completely legal here. Same thing in the UK. Like what they're doing in the West doesn't mean what's happening in the real world. China, Japan, all these other countries, Africa, India, they don't believe in all of this like feminism and all this like insanity that they're pushing on people. I think personally, because I read a Department of Defense report as well, and they said that the average American citizen is becoming less and less compliant with being a slave to the government. So I personally believe that everybody is waking up. I think that humanity is coming to a next stage of awakening, and that we're all getting more closer to a truth, because that's why people get on the internet. That's why people come to the red pill. Everybody is looking for the truth, and the truth, due to the internet, is becoming more and more popular. So in my opinion, I think that this is a desperation move. I see the media getting more desperate. I see it all looking just pathetic. They're trying so hard. Look like the Democrats trying so hard to stop this wall from happening. Trump is like clearly a red pill alpha leader, and he is red pilling the masses of the world. I have Japanese guys telling me they love Donald Trump's style. So this man is really changing the world. And I personally believe that this is a desperation move. I don't think that we need to be upset. I think we need to fight back for sure. I met with Sean T. Smith last week in Denver. We sat down, had a chat about psychology. And, he's pretty adamant about this. He's fighting. I think we need to fight. But ultimately, I think that we are on the right side of history. And I think that this is just a desperation move.
Speaking of meeting up with people, I forgot to mention in my opening statement here, yesterday I got to meet up with Corey Lewandowski, the former campaign manager for the Trump campaign in 2016. That was not planned. I was just walking around.
Did he bump his elbow into you?
No, we met up at the pool with I'm a video director with me and my general manager. We were touring one of the venues. We did a couple tours yesterday of hotels in the area for the convention. And we just spotted him and went up to him. Was like, "Hey, are you Corey Lewandowski?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he was kind of like sketched out because we came up with shades on, suits and shit, and he didn't know who the fuck we were. He was doing like a book signing last night in Orlando, early, book like a speech. And I was like, "Hey man, can we get a photo?" And we ended up trading numbers, and he might be, I don't know if I want him at the event exactly, but I'm considering it. So he might speak at the event someday. So we'll see. But yeah, it was cool.
Might be a good add-on. I don't know. It depends on what's his book about?
Trump's enemies, the deep state, trying to kill Trump. So it's heavily political. So it's like, do we want to go there? We'll see. But he seems to be, he was a great guy to talk to, like very positive, not, crazy lefty weirdo. Like he goes on CNN, hardcore leftists and shit. Mm. So he actually said too that a lot of these guys, not the radio necessarily, but the news anchors on CNN, Chris Kuma and all these guys, they're actually like totally normal, like off air a lot of the time. But then when you get them on camera, they're just like fucking like hardcore leftists. Like
they're on the clock. That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to add one more thing on here to what Ryan was saying is like I think that whenever I talk about like the sisterhood uber alles, critics give me this shit all the time. They'll go, "Oh yeah, there must be some backroom collective of Illuminati, right? That are all against men, right? Of course they want to trivialize it by saying something like that. And I've answered this question actually a long time ago, which is that there doesn't need to be an Illuminati. There doesn't need to be some sort of sinister, Dr. Evil, dark room full of planners who are going to plan world domination for women. It's that it is so ingrained in our society that it's decentralized, and it is more powerful because it is decentralized than if it were to have been something that was like by design. A lot of guys want to say, well, feminism is about socialism, or feminism is the Rockefellers, or feminism is like, yeah, okay, I get that. I understand that. I'm not going to say that there might not be some merit to that. But the thing is that shit doesn't work unless men are men and women are women. And one of the reasons why we have rulings like this, like when I talk about like the sisterhood, I'll point out things. Like I pointed out this thing, I think it was a Texas A&M or one of these universities has a class on how to be a better man, right? Or like remember when the red pill Reddit got quarantined, they instantly had a link there to go to the masculinity studies class at Stony Brook University with the guy who I forget the guy's name, Michael Kimmel. I think that's what it is. That guy, like 2 weeks later, ends up getting Me Too'd. He ends up having a sexual harassment case thrown at him, and they had to instantly take off that link from the quarantine announcement on thing. But That's what I'm talking about. Like when I point out little things like that, they go, well, that doesn't mean it's so widespread. That doesn't mean that's only one university. No, this is in all of the universities. And if it's not a class that teaches you how to man down, how to check your privileges, how to be like what the whole ruling here is saying is like they want compliance. They want men who are going to be women. They don't want a guy who is a strong, conventionally masculine guy. They don't want that dominance because it threatens their power. It threatens their base of power anyways. And that's kind of like what I think what Jonathan is getting at is like for there to be strong men, that affects, for there to be a patriarchy, that affects their power structure, affects their power base for the sisterhood, for the feminine imperative, for the village. And so that's why you have to, they're taking more and more. And that's what I was saying in my speech and when we were talking about this on the 29th of December, when we were talking about what's going to come in the future, we're already seeing this. And this is a consolidation of it. This is an official kind of decree, if you would. It's like, they're the lords of the new church. And this is the new decree is that, all any kind of masculinity is toxic. And I said this after the 2017 21 convention. Remember when the Las Vegas shooting happened? And then what they wanted to do is go from gun control to men control.
There it is. They do it every time. Same with Let's Cruise. They did the same thing.
Yes, it's no longer about just let's take everybody's guns away. Let's control guns. It's let's control men, because it's angry men who are doing this, or killing. Whenever the next guy ends up shooting himself and killing his wife and 3 kids because he got zeroed out because of the feminine primary divorce industry or whatever, basically just completely zero the dude out and he's suicidal. That guy is now to deal with his suicidal thoughts, gets to go to an APA approved psychologist.
Well, let me
going to tell him, no, it's not them. It's not all this bullshit. It's you, and you need to change, and you need to be more feminine.
You hit on something pretty interesting here, Rollo. You just said that they want to control guns, and then now they want to control the men in addition to the guns and this and that. When I hear that, what came to me immediately was this: the feminists and the feminine imperative and women, for the most part, want to control everything but women. Women want to. It's just like that old that quote with feminism, like completely unchained, female sexuality. It's like women, they want to have absolutely zero control and zero responsibility and all the authority. They want to control everything: politics, government, school, guns, men, boys, fathers, grandfathers, family, extended family, psychology. This, and that. Fucking control freaks, man. It's crazy. Yeah, it's feminist totalitarianism is what it is.
You say that to any woman, and you say that to any ally, because they're not men. You say that to any ally, and they'll go, "Yo, yeah, what's wrong with that? It's about time women had some control. It's about time." And they're just like sputtering out this, parroting back this narrative that they've been taught since they were 5 years old.
And they are oblivious that women hate being in control. They despise men who let them control them.
Like, I was going to say, why would you want to control women then? Because apparently they're pretty useless compared to guys.
Yeah. Well, that's how they control guys, though, is they control the men by having them man down. That's people keep saying that this is an attack on the family, and it is an attack on the family. But they have to destroy the family through the men, because if they can make weak men and they can put women into that women are far more easier to control than men are, at least strong, dominant, masculine alpha men who've been taught, to be conventionally masculine.
Oh, I agree. Like, from a consumer standpoint, a man who says no is like the biggest threat to that. So of course,
I mean, like, I just
basic self-interest. Yeah,
I just got an infographic from somebody showing off all the ways that women are the primary consumers in Western societies. I mean, like, they control 80% of the overall wealth when it comes to spending.
Well, that's spending, but spending isn't wealth. That's just spending.
Yeah, well, the spending side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they generate, worldwide, women generate $18 trillion and they spend $28 trillion. So what is that? Where'd that $10 trillion go?
Dude, that's the thing. It used to be money, but now it's just debt. Like, there's a bubble.
And to add on to that, Rollo, 2/3 of all student debt in the United States is possessed by females.
Yes, because 2/3 of all bachelor's degrees are also possessed by women.
It's because of the patriarchy.
Wife up those empowered women, right?
You got a couple of $10 super.
Yeah, we need to move on a little bit. I want to talk about. I want to get to Jeff Bezos. And
let's hit the super
we can get some calls started here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Donovan, let's hit those super chats too.
Yeah,
You got 'em?
Dark says, I'm studying to become a doctor. What MLD is saying is very true, but there are some grassroots organizations I'm a part of that will bring change. #hope. Yeah, this is one of those grassroots organizations, so to speak. Hoki Bukisa with the $10 super chat says, my rule about guns and my job is that is my domain. I provision and protect you. You don't have a say in how I do it. You get to say thank you. That's it. That's an excellent point. Women don't give a fuck about how you made your money. Oh, I'm sorry, you're worth $10 million. They don't care if you're a drug dealer or if you're the CEO of a Fortune 1000 company. Doesn't matter. You've got it. They don't give a shit how that happens. So that's a very good point by Hoki Bukisa.
Yeah, one of the common criticisms I'm getting right now when I'm critical of this is like women want to say, well, we don't need you to be dominant area. We're above that, or we're done with that now. We've evolved past patriarchy, and we don't need dominant guys like you because you cause more problems than you solve, right? And I'm like, that's fine right up until the floodwaters start rising and you need somebody to carry you to safety.
How would you like it if I asked you to give me a blowjob instead of just grabbing your hair and putting your face on my dick?
Right.
You like that better, don't you? Yeah.
Well, it's like the thing is like this is the, and you can quote me on this.
Here we go.
Here we go. Right. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is only conventional masculinity. There are only the aspects and the behavioral sets and the manifestations of the biological aspects of what makes a man, sexual strategies, all that other kind of stuff. That there are things that qualify a man as being man. There are masculine traits. If you want to say, well, women can be those too. Okay, fine. You're a masculinized woman then. Okay. But the thing is there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is only the aspects of that masculinity that is convenient to the feminine imperative, and the ones that is the parts of it that is challenges their authority, that threatens their power base, right? I mean, that's really what all this is about. It's like what we say that everything is about sex except for sex. Sex is about power. This is that power part we're talking about now.
Well, what about Rolo? What about male feminists as being toxically masculine? Like that to me, betraying your own sex and destroying
Vici males. That's why
they're traitors. They're traitors.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think I need to sort of clarify that because people keep saying, "What the fuck is he talking about, Vici male?" When I talk about Vici males, I mean like in World War II there were the Vichy French, okay, and the Vichy French were the French that collaborated with the Nazis because they believed that the Nazis were going to win. And so they wanted to be on the side of the winning side. They were just basically making a really bad bet, and so they were called the Vichy French. And so that's why when I talk about guys who are male feminists, or women don't even call you a man. By the way, if you're a male feminist and you're listening to this, women don't think of you as a man. They think of you seriously. They think of you as an ally. That's what they call you. You're not even male. They won't even utter the word man, men, or male. They will call you an ally. And so, you know what? If that's the case, I'm going to call you an ally too, because you are not a man. So they're right about that. You're not a man. You're a useful piece of. You're a tool that they're going to use to establish to help establish their power base that much more. And that's why I call them the Vichy males, because they're not men. They're traitors. They're traitors to their gender. They're gender loathing. And boys are taught to gender loathe from the time that they're 5 years old. So they grow into these male feminists. I was just, somebody just sent me something on, I wish that I remember the guy's name, but he was like criticizing R. Kelly or something like that. And now that guy, I think he's a music producer, and he just got, somebody will put it in the chat, I'm sure. But he just got, claims to be a male feminist and was coming down on R. Kelly or something. And now he's been accused of sexual misconduct.
See, there we go. Oh, R. Kelly.
Anyways, let's move on to Bezos.
Anyway,
let's do it. So Jeff Bezos looks like he's getting the most epic divorce rape in history. Looks like he'll lose literally tens of billions of dollars in the final divorce settlement, which is probably the pinnacle of insanity with the court system today.
I think the round sum is $70 billion.
That's over half of 137, which is not just. Listen,
yeah, that is even 1 billion would be excessive, or any amount really, in my opinion. But Donovan, you want to hit it?
Well, the way I see it is this, right? Jeff Bezos is worth $137 billion. Now, his soon-to-be ex-wife, she paid her dues. She's got 4 kids with him. She was married to him for 25 years or whatever, or however long it was. But that doesn't mean that she gets half, right? Again, she's his wife for 25 years. That has to count for something.
Well, wait. Let me challenge you on that, because for 25 years, she has had access to millions and billions of dollars. That's a lot. That's a lot more money than most people will ever see in their entire lifetime. So I don't understand why she deserves a single dollar out of Jeff Bezos, to be honest. On a factual, objective, like third-party basis, I don't give a shit how many children she's had and what she's done. Why does she get $1? Because for the past 25 years, when her behavior has been good or compliant to what he wants, she's had access to a lifestyle that most human beings in history and now will never, ever, 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 ever have access to. That's a huge payment for being associated with somebody and having a vagina that he wanted to fuck.
I agree. And I think that it really depends upon the circumstances, and it depends upon the whole custody thing, right? I don't think she's going to get, and I don't know what the details are. I don't think she's going to get full custody of the kids because, of course, clearly, I guess they're both, sound, able-bodied parents or whatever the case may be. But the point is this: is he built the wealth, not her. Okay. Yep. In my mind, and again, I'm as red pill as they come, but she, to me, I can't really put a dollar figure on there, but to me, if you're worth $137 billion and you've been married to the same woman for 25 years, to me, you don't really leave her penniless in that regard. To me, just being as objective and as fair-minded I can be, and I know a lot of guys are like, oh my God, no. To me, this is really a matter of being fair. Now, there's a difference between being fair and unreasonable, right? Again, she spent 25 years with the guy and had 4 of his children. I don't think that she's going to get full custody. They'll probably have some sort of split custody, but she should not be entitled to half of his wealth. That, like, not even close. To me, if I were them, I would try to keep the courts out of it, although the future ex-Mrs. Bezos probably would. But to me, as far as Donovan Sharp is concerned, okay, listen, you were with me for a quarter of a century. You gave me 4 kids. Me just being fair-minded, keeping the courts out of there. Okay, listen, I'll break you off, right? Like, listen, I'll use another example. Conor McGregor. He's been married to the same girl since before when he was on food stamps. Conor McGregor is never leaving her because she was with him before he got rich. Now, Jeff Bezos was a millionaire before she got with him. Okay, yep. She actually used to work for Amazon, and of course, this was before #MeToo, and he's Jeff Bezos, right? So he gets with her, they get married, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing, and she is still attractive for 50 years old, but the joke is on her, because even if she gets $70 billion of his net income, she's never going to get with another man of value. She is essentially going to be alpha widowed by Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, on the other hand, he's going to get with hotter chicks. And of course, he's with Lauren Sanchez, who's also 49 years old, which doesn't really make any sense. But what that tells me is that Jeff doesn't really understand what a sexual market value is. Dude, you're worth $137 billion.
Not for long.
Well, not for long, but listen, let's say they cut his net worth in half, which wouldn't be fair, but guess what? I think he'll be okay. I don't think he's going to have to live on ramen noodles. All of that said, Bezos doesn't really truly understand what a sexual market value is. Well, now that he is about to be divorced, whatever happens in the courts, whatever money exchanges hands, he's about to find out. He's going to say to himself, why am I fucking Lauren Sanchez when I can fuck Lauren Sanchez's hotter, younger niece at 19, 20, 21 years old? So I think when Bezos figures out what his sexual market value is, I think that's when we're going to see him starting to make the moves. But in my mind, it's only fair. If I'm Jeff Bezos, I'm like, look, I'm not going to freeze you out. I'm not going to leave you penniless. You were with me when I built my wealth, but that does not entitle you to 67 or 70 billion dollars, not even close.
I mean, she could be a millionaire for the rest of her life just writing a book on being married to that guy.
Of course.
But Jonathan, you'll hop in?
Guys, look, here's the bottom line, all right? Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the fucking world, and he couldn't make this woman happy. That right there is the fucking baseline of red pill truth, okay? Never try to make a woman. You could be the richest man in history, and she's still going to find a reason to divorce you. Now, that being said, I think that this ultimately, because Bezos is a beta, there are a bunch of situations that led up to this that showed it. She was attracted to him when he was the vice president of a hedge fund in New York City, and she was next to his office, and they got engaged within 3 months of dating. And just look at Jeff Bezos, okay? That guy, or Bezos, whatever the hell you fucking call him.
Beezer.
Right? Look at that guy. That guy is a repulsive man and a repulsive excuse for masculinity. But good on him for making all the money. But when you have money, you have power like that, you have to realize, which he didn't, that women want you for what you have, not who you are. All right? So at the end of the day, this guy's going to lose a big portion of his cash, but it's going to red pill billions of people.
That is true.
It's going to red pill billions of men. I guarantee you lawyers are going to start. I guarantee you lawyers are getting calls now like, hey, listen, dude, how do I protect my assets from this bitch? Like, is Bitcoin a legitimate option? Like, what do I do? That's what I think. So ultimately, you know, she's not guaranteed half. Theoretically, I think
we don't know anything. We don't know anything.
She could get up to 67 billion, but I mean, you know, first of all, it's just going to expose how fucked up the family court system is, and second of all, it's going to show these dudes like, hey, don't be signing over your rights and leverage to women. Now, I always tell the guys that I coach,
there it is,
right, that like never give a woman leverage to fuck you ever. If you're getting an apartment with her, make sure it's all in your name. If you're getting a car, make sure it's all in your name. You're getting a house, make sure it's in your name. Never do joint bank accounts. Never do joint credit cards. None of that shit. That whole fairy tale garbage that you believe, like, oh, she's equal. I trust her. She's not like other girls. You say that now, but you spite her, and she will put that knife directly in your back. Guarantee, boys.
That's why I was going to say, as an alternative look on this one, he's children of dynamite. I mean, you think about it. You're saying, was it Donovan saying that he can't keep her happy? Let me offer an alternate here. She couldn't keep him happy.
Right.
She signed on to the hedge fund nerd, which is just like those girls that date the Silicon Valley guys. They're complete nerds, but they earn well. So he was the beta buck from the start.
Yeah.
And then once he started doing
potential,
getting in shape, he actually became like very masculine. He started liking things.
See his transformation over the years.
Yeah, over the years. Here's the thing. He's never been that alpha male type person before. So when he got the first whiff from her best friend, who was like 49, he could have done better. But that was the first girl to give him a whiff in a while. And clearly the wife wasn't fucking him because that was not an upgrade. That was a lateral move.
Right.
If that.
Now, here's why she's going to be going after half and not worried about what's fair. He embarrassed her. He slept with her best friend and he made it public. And I guarantee you that's why she is going to go to the mat. She doesn't even want the money. She just doesn't want him to have it.
You know what's really great though is women are not good at managing money, so I'm sure she'll piss away billions no matter what she gets.
Oh yeah, or she'll donate it to like feminist causes or something like that. You watch what she does with that money.
Will in turn piss it away on bullshit.
Last to take for the readers too on this though is that discretion thing. Like I think it's Rolo, your rule, right? A woman would rather share an alpha than have a beta all to herself.
Oh yeah.
And we already see examples in the real world. Think of that guy who has a mistress for years and he promises he's going to leave his wife for and never does. Well, that's exactly what's happening here. Had he been discreet, she probably would have been okay with it. Just don't embarrass her socially. Right. She gets the $1 million lifestyle and the perfect family, which looks great on a resume. Meanwhile, he gets his strange. Just keep it out of our social circle. Keep it away from me. So that's one of the ways he failed. And a lot of these guys, you see like Troy Francis and that, who are like the Playboy lifestyle types. They understand that. They know how to keep multiple plates. He didn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Well, didn't know to pick a better plate.
Like, I mean, the guy has been beta since day one. Okay, I mean, I think Vox would probably even call the guy a gamma, right? So we see the whirlwind of a 3 month romance or whatever, and now suddenly he's married, and he's one of these beta guys who just wants to, find a good chick and get done with that so he can go back to coding or whatever it is that he wants to have something regular. And for all she knew, I'm sure he was probably pretty well off even when they met, but like he wasn't richest man in the world well off. So so what I think is interesting is that there's that aspect of it too. So it's I think we're kind of trying to expect too much from a guy like this, because this is where I always say that you have to kill the beta, you have to kill the blue pill, because this is a good example of that, of a guy who has been pretty much beta and blue pill his entire life. And that's one of the reasons why he did what he did. I mean, if you look at the text between him and the Dirty Sanchez texts, when you look at the Dirty Sanchez texts, and don't think for a second that somebody didn't think of that when they were put right in that headline.
And Anthony, this is why I love your podcast.
The Dirty Sanchez. Look at that. You're laughing at Sanchez. Like
well, I was just going to say is that I think that, he's a good illustration of what happens to a guy who stays blue pill for most of his life, and now he's getting I can't say he's getting blindsided because he should have known better. And this is me talking from a red pill perspective. I can't expect him to be red pill. I can't expect him. People say, well, God, why would you go for that? Why wouldn't you? You had all this money. Why wouldn't you just turn into Dan Blitzerian and have all these chicks come over and create some paradise for you in Maui with sister wives and shit like that? Why wouldn't you do that? Well, that's not him, because he's blue pill. He thinks in terms of monkey branching. He thinks in terms of serial monogamy. He thinks in like, well, I'm not getting laid. And I talked about this with Pat, and I couldn't really get into this kind of detail, but most likely, and I agree with Ron, he probably wasn't getting laid. And so as soon as some girl gives him a whiff, right, then suddenly he thinks it's love. And if you look at the texts and you look at all the back and forth between the two of them, he didn't realize that he is the richest man in the world, and he thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was like, well, I want to do this the right way, right? That's why he's going to get taken to the cleaners. Now that's the first thing. The second thing is that I think what everybody is doing here is, it's great because this is red meat for red pill, right? This is red meat for the masses. It's red meat for feminists as well, because I have read article after article after article about how Mackenzie deserves it, or she was instrumental in writing the business plan for Amazon, or doesn't she deserve something? Doesn't she should get at least something? I'm like, yeah, but she's about to become, and this is what they want to sweep under the carpet. We're supposed to pay attention to the idea that she deserves all this, and we're going to try to write article after article to justify that. Okay, but what they're the big steaming pile of shit in this whole thing is that this is a perfect example of shining a light on the divorce industry, because we're about to see a woman become the richest woman in the world in history in a divorce settlement. She's about to become the richest, if you want to say wealth is power, she's about to become the most powerful woman in the world because she was in the right place and she married the right sucker. She married the right beta. And it's like, and ladies, you can do this too, right? And so what we're looking at is like, I think they were married in Washington State or California, where they have to split it down the middle. Basically, they're splitting assets down the middle. Didn't have a prenup. Not that I think that was going to do anything, but you can challenge me on that if you want. But
25 years.
Didn't have a prenup. The other thing is she's never owned any stock in Amazon. Yep. So you would think that somebody who is instrumental in creating Amazon would at least have some Amazon stock, right? No. Well, she's going to have stock now. But the thing is what the femstream press wants to avoid is shining a light on women, because this is a really bad light to put women in. Like, if what was it? Somebody sent me. I think it was a Forbes article. I think it was AJ Cortez. He was saying that that there was this article on the top 66 most wealthy women in the world. Only 6 of them are self-made. All of the rest of them either received it from death benefits or from divorce settlements, or they stepped into a company that was already prepared for them, that they did. They're wealthy, but it was already prepared for them to come in and become wealthy.
And I wonder how many of those death settlements were murder.
Yeah, or exactly like nagging to death, right? But
I mean, literally too.
But those are statistics that you're not going to see in the femstream media. You're not going to see them post that, and they don't. That's why they want to focus on the text, like, ooh, the Dirty Sanchez text. That's why they want to focus on that, because this is really bad press for womankind, for the sisterhood. It really is, because we're about to give, $70 billion is a lot of fucking money. If she was getting like $3 billion, that's still a lot of money. I mean, we're talking, $1 billion is a lot of money in a divorce settlement. She's going to get $70 billion for doing what? For sucking this guy's dick for 25 years?
Well, she wasn't. But
yeah, or not, maybe in the end. And the last part I wanted to add on this is, like, and I think it was Donovan who was sitting on this. If you look at the pictures of him and his wife in the beginning, like when he was like kind of like this, he like Marty Feldman, like he got hit upside the head and he's got a glass eye or some shit. And he looks like the typical kind of nerd, kind of cute. He's not ugly. He's just kind of like, and and Mackenzie is this kind of short-haired, taller than him, butch, almost looks like a butch lesbian in these pictures. So if you look at the early pictures of him, and then like later on, maybe he got on testosterone replacement therapy, maybe he started lifting a little bit more, and you see these, and that's when I started taking notice, because guys in the manosphere said, "Hey, look, Jeff Bezos is getting kind of yoked, or he's just trying to, anyways." And if you look at the progression, you will see that his wife grew her hair out long. And she started wearing sexy dresses, and she started like trying to at least upgrade. She's leaps and bounds a completely different person from those early pictures when she looked like a butch dyke. Right now she's beautiful, or she's trying to become more beautiful. She's
for 50. I mean,
she was 48, and then she's thin. She's not overweight. She's not a bad looking girl for that age, but she's still got that kind of nerd quality to her. But she sympathetically did what I tell guys. This is what happens when you institute passive dread in your relationships, is when you start looking better, and when you start manning up, and when you start lifting and do it, start caring more about yourself, and then you're presenting yourself and all that kind of stuff. You will see that if your wife is into you, or if your wife wants to, she's going to feel dread from that, and she's going to start changing her own behavior. And that's exactly what Mackenzie did.
I have an open question for the panel before we hop over to the phone lines, take some calls. So a few months ago in 2018, we saw Brad Pitt get divorce raped, who was formerly and sometimes currently considered like one of the sexiest men in the world, has played alpha roles in movies repeatedly. Whatever the mechanics of his personality in real life is, he's fucking Brad Pitt, like legend, right? So what are the parallels between him getting divorce raped and Jeff Bezos getting divorce raped, who's like full beta bucks?
Oh, this one's easy.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, this one's easy. No matter how high your value is in terms of looks or money, everyone is susceptible. And here's the thing. This is something I always say. There's no such thing as Tony Stark, right? We all love Tony Stark. He's Iron Man. The interesting thing about Tony Stark is he is both alpha fucks and beta bucks. He's this billionaire tech genius who also happens to be very good with women. That doesn't exist in the real world. Elon Musk, he's a beta bitch boy. He doesn't know dick about women. Brad Pitt, world's greatest looking man, doesn't know dick about women. Jeff Bezos, you can look at him and know that he doesn't know dick about women, but he's worth $167 billion.
Oh, Brad Pitt, I'm not so sure, honestly. I think Angelina Jolie's a BPD chick at a high level.
Oh, I mean, she is. She's god tier BPD.
Yeah, exactly.
No one is immune. No one is immune from the need for game. Okay. And I'm going to make one more point that Ryan talked about. Yeah. Jeff Bezos cheated on his wife, I guess, with Lauren Sanchez. I hadn't heard about that until now. But another point that Ryan made is all Jeff had to do was keep it under wraps. I once did an episode called the 10 Side Chick Commandments, or the 10 Commandments for Cheating. The number one rule: don't get caught. If you're a high value guy, your wife, your girlfriend knows chicks want to fuck you. Your wife, your girlfriend knows that chicks are fucking you. Don't throw it in her face. And if O.J. Simpson had been more discreet about his affairs with women, Nicole Brown Simpson would probably still be alive today. And I'll tell you why. Oh, Nicole knew O.J. was fucking other bitches. He's fucking O.J. Lives in Hollywood. He's at Mr. L.A., Mr. Heisman Trophy winner. First guy to ever rush for 2,000 yards in a season. It was 14 game seasons back then. And OJ was fucking all these bitches, and he used to come home, he used to beat up on Nicole and say, yeah, I've got 6 other bitches like you. At some point, women get tired of being publicly humiliated. So what did Nicole do? She went and she fucked Marcus Allen. OJ found out about it and allegedly killed her. All of this could have been avoided if OJ had just been discreet. And Jeff Bezos, again, does not have game. And men who are game aware, men who understand how women operate, know that if you're going to fuck around on women, she probably knows you're fucking around. Just don't throw it in her face. Don't publicly humiliate her, or it's bad news.
Yeah, Anthony, this is why I love your podcast over all the other stuff. Everybody looks at this Bezos thing like, oh, look at how shitty women are. And they complain, the MGTOWs, the MRAs, whatever. I think this is the only one, and kudos to you for creating it, that actually shows guys what they can do to get a much better outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say my take on this whole thing is like, if you look at, first of all, just because you're good looking, just because you are, on People Magazine's sexiest man alive, does not mean that you aren't blue pill. Does not mean that you can't still be beta. There are plenty of what I call blue pill alphas. In fact, I've always said they make the worst white knights because they're the ones that'll step up and for my lady's honor and stuff, and they don't realize that they're completely blue pill conditioned, but they're rewarded with women's attention so much that they think that what they're doing is right? Because why it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing. I believe that what's happened with somebody like Brad Pitt. I mean, Brad Pitt is the two lessons here are this: is that just because you're good looking does not necessarily insulate you from being beta. Just because you're good looking does not necessarily make you an alpha. There's plenty of guys I work with a guy, and if you read my book, it's this guy named Jake, who is this PR agent that I worked with at one point. A very good looking dude, but had just a pansy ass blue pill attitude towards saying, I can't get a girlfriend. And girls wanted to fuck him, but they didn't want to have an LTR with him. Because they just want, you know, because after a while, after the first time they had sex, you know, drunken sex on the first night they met, that was fun, but then they had to deal with the dude. And so there's that aspect of the whole thing too. And the other thing, I think that the greater message, and Ryan just talked about this, the greater message is that men need to understand that your value increases the older you get. Okay. Sure. Just because you're hot in your 20s, okay, great. You know, you're going to get a lot of chicks, but you know what? Your value, I would say men don't become men till they're 30, right? They don't establish themselves in their career. They don't establish it. They're better judges of character when they get to be 35, 36. They should be anyways. And if you accept your male burden of performance and you understand, you build yourself up into the best version of yourself possible, right? You don't want a woman coming in and tearing all that shit down. And so part of that has to be unplugging yourself, and it has to be becoming red pill aware. Why are these guys in the state that they're in? Because they didn't have access to understanding the real nature of women, or understanding the game that they're in. And you know what? Now they're on the sharp end of it. Now they're in divorces. You know, I'm sure the sex was fucking amazing with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie in the beginning, right? Now she's cut off her tits and she's like a feminist, and she cut off her hair and she does all this other shit, right? And so he's like, I'm Brad Pitt, I'm the sexiest man alive. How is this happening to me? Well, it's happening to you because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You didn't have any incentive to think that maybe women like this are whack. You know, he didn't have any education as to this is why I say it's vitally important to kill the beta before the beta kills you. It's easy to point this out when a guy gets zeroed out and he wants to kill himself, or he wants to kill his family and then kill himself. But it's another thing when a guy like Brad Pitt, we want to say, well, he's not zeroed out. He's got lots of money. He's the hottest dude. He can jump back in the game. Yeah, but he's going to jump back in the game. He's going to go right back to doing the same bullshit because he's still blue pill. He's still beta, and he still hasn't.
And
learned.
let me just jump in here too. I just wanted to say real quick, like, look at all this. Okay, Brad Pitt, like mega hot dude, right? Truly living the hashtag hot dude life. Jeff Bezos, fucking richest man in human history. Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal,
Heavy.
These dudes fucking change human history, and all of these dudes get fucked by their wives in divorce court. So what does that say? Guys, stop being these emotional pussies. Stop believing this lie that like there is this equality and that women see you through the same eyes that you see them. Women and men are different, okay? They do not love you the way that you love them. They do not have loyalty like men have loyalty to other men. It doesn't work like that. If all of these dudes got fucked by women and got fucked in divorce courts, even if you're some badass software engineer or you're a hedge fund manager or you're fucking the regional manager at Starbucks, and you think that you're some alpha Chad that's not going to get fucked, you're delusional. So don't give these bitches any leverage. Don't give them any leg up on you at all, and definitely don't trust them. Like Rolo says, be your mental point of origin. What does that mean? Be selfish. Protect yourself at all times. Everything you need to do needs to be for yourself, by yourself, to protect yourself.
Hey, if Miss Bezos screws someone over, don't worry. Your girlfriend from Hooters will not fuck you over in divorce court. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to hit the phone lines here in a second. The call-in number is going to be 914-205-5356. Outside the U.S., call 001-914-205-5356. Before we do, take the green pill, and go to patreon.com/Redman Group, pitch into the show. We have a couple tiers of bonuses, things like that. Every dollar helps, every dollar counts. You can also click these links. The link to Patreon is also in the description of this video, as well as a direct donation link to PayPal. Take the green pill. Eventually, maybe you buy some soap. Not yet, but coming soon. And appreciate the super chats we had in. I know one earlier we missed in a call-in. It was like a $2 one. It said he loves Angry Rolo. So I thought that was pretty cool. I like Angry Rolo too. Badass Rolo. Every year that goes by, he gets more badass. This is fantastic.
Listen, real quick.
I was going to say, you're going to love the 21 convention speech.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. The best Rolo ever was at the 21 convention when that dude got up and asked Rolo about writing an MRA blog, and Rolo looked at the guy like he just ate literally a shit sandwich. Like, holy fucking shit! So what you're saying, Rolo, is that you're really not into the MRA thing. That was classic.
Like, why would you want to do that?
Stifling back laughter was unbelievable.
Do you know who I am?
Let's
hit them phone lines. Let them phone lines, boys. What we got?
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to area code 717. Area code 717. You're on live with the Redman Group. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Awesome. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the work that you guys have been doing. I've been Red Pill aware basically for about a year now. I want to start off with the question, and then you guys can ask any follow-up questions. How do I keep things simple in my Red Pill journey and not overthink or overcomplicate things? Because I think with a lot of the societal implications and all the stuff that you guys have been talking about on the show and then shows past, I think guys like myself who've not really been in this lifestyle or kind of still new to it can get overwhelmed by all the information and all of the different things.
Are you afraid of loss?
One, like your health. Say again?
Are you afraid of loss? Like when you get a girlfriend, is the first thought in your head, I don't want to lose my place, I don't want to lose this, I don't want to lose her?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I haven't.
Well, stop that. That's honestly, I know I'm cutting your question off, but that's the answer to it. Most guys do things because there's like it's not even a threat point. It's like a self-inflicted one. You're worried about what you're going to lose. Just don't worry about it. Let it happen. It's temporary. If you're going to lose something, you're not going to give a fuck about it. And then you're going to stop thinking, and then you're just going to start acting more in the now.
There's a lot. You are correct. There's a lot to take in. I think Rich was saying like to read my book or to listen to me like ramble on about whatever it is like drinking from a fire hose. I think that's what he was saying. There's a lot to take in, particularly if you're following different kind of aspects, I think, of the manosphere. If you're looking for like psychological things, if you're looking for like, how am I going to, pick up artists, MGTOW, Red Pill, whatever, I see those as sort of separate entities, by the way. But there's a lot to take in from all of those. And I think I think it was you guys will, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I think it was Bruce Lee who said he would learn from different martial arts. Like he would take what he would work for him, and then he would build that to be his own kind of martial art, right? He would just like pick and pull and stuff. And I think that you need to gravitate towards what it is that you primarily want to focus on, or what you think is the aspect of your own life that you want the Red Pill to be as functional as possible for. So if that's like, oh, I want to learn game, I want to learn why women are the way they are, I want to learn how to get laid, or maybe I want to learn more about the social side of it. Maybe take those things, but then like step away from it after a while. I think that a lot of people, like, especially, I love Rolo when he's angry, right? Okay, well, it's not like I walk around all day going, oh, God, feminine, fuck, I can't.
We like Pitbull Rolla. We don't like.
Yeah, no, that's not me, dude. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, as soon as I'm done with the show, I'm gonna go turn into a sled neck here in a little while.
Yeah, there we go.
So, but I mean that there's aspect. Like I think about these things, and it's like it's great. For in fact, I have to step away myself really a lot of times because I'll get too wrapped up in Twitter. I'll get too wrapped up in what it is I'm working. I can just get too into my own head. Like if I'm writing something on my own blog. I can just sort of like, okay, I'm really kind of overanalyzing this. I will go and I'll go do something else. You know, I'll go paint or draw, or I'll go play music, or I'll go on a sled or whatever. And then I'll come back to it and I'll have a better perspective of it. But I think that at some point, the red pill needs to be internalized. It needs to be your reflexive response. And I think you're sort of in between, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think you're kind of in between being unplugged and not really and having internalized everything and to the point where it's your reflexive response. And so I think once you have internalized and it becomes your reflex, that you will kind of you'll be able to see things, you'll be able to see the forest for the trees at that point.
All right, guys, let's hit the like button. We've got 628 people watching, and my guess is that we probably don't have nearly as much. Let's hit the like button, guys. Make sure we get the word out. Let's go back to the phone lines. Thanks for the call there, area code 717. Let's go to area code 325. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Okay. This question is really for Anthony and Rolo, but I just wanted to know, like, based on the state of the manosphere and where we're at, and the attacks that we're under, do we have to wait for civilization to like fail for a correction to be made, or what can we do actively? Because the blue-pilled guys are resistant to taking any information on, and it seems like you're fighting an uphill battle if you try and share and spread the word. But it seems to be happening. But I don't know if that's just confirmation bias. Like, I just want to put the word out because I got zeroed out. I got erased and replaced. And I don't want other guys to have to go through that to learn.
Rolo, you want to hit this?
Erased and replaced. I'm stealing that. That was really good. Yeah. Okay. So there's different schools of thought about this. I am not one of the guys who is sit poolside and watch the world burn. I know that there's some guys that are like that. I do honestly believe that you get enough. Yeah. You get enough guys together and you get, see, the thing is like, well, we're just talking about how I said that there is no like Illuminati for the feminine imperative because it doesn't need to be. It's all decentralized. The same thing is really kind of true for the manosphere at this point. The mainstream media wants to find some face to put on the manosphere right now, and I think they're trying to do that really with like Jordan Peterson, but they want to find the ugliest, most craziest son of a bitch that they can put on there. I think that one of the best things that ever happened was that they won't put Paul Elam's face as the face of the manosphere, because he looks a lot like Charles Manson. So thank goodness that's not going to happen. But it's because the manosphere is decentralized, and there is no. I mean, I could say, well, with the Red Man Group, we're trying to make inroads, and yeah, we are, but we're not some cabal of evil plotters like Dr. Evil trying to figure out how we're going to rule the world. At least not yet. And so what I think is, well, what needs to be done, I think, is a lot of guys will say like I hear this, and it's in the chat here too. MGTOWs constantly want to say that we need to take women's rights away. Great, I'm all for taking women's rights away. How do you want to do that? Where do we start? Show me where show me where I sign and we take women's rights away, and I'll be happy to do that.
I'm actually skeptical that that's even the core issue.
I don't think it is either. That's why I'm saying, tell me how you plan to do this, and I'll tell you if I'm on board with that.
I'll one up that. How do you expect their beta male husbands not to get bullied into voting how they want it anyway?
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And and this gets back to his question here. Is my point is like the genie's out of the bottle. So you can either go forward and I will say the same thing to Tradcons. Tradcons don't want the red pill. They want a time machine. Mm-hmm. They want to go back in time to make women women and men men, and they want to go back to happy days, and they want to, they don't want to move forward. They want to move backwards. And I say they're the same thing I would tell the guys in the MGTOWs, like, we have to deal with what we have right now. We've got to find some way to make this work. How are we going to do that? The best thing I can think of is like raise awareness and try to work from, I've always said this, I've worked from a bottom up. each one tell one. Work on every guy, you know.
Well,
And if you can't move, if you can't, then move on to something else. If Jeff Bezos had been red pill, how would that have changed his situation right now? If he had a fundamental change in his life, if he'd read the Rational Male, well, how would that? Maybe he would still be getting taken to the cleaners, but I'll tell you this, he'd be fucking a whole lot hotter chick than Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah. I want to pile on this thing with Rollo here. So I've always liked that since I found Rollo and his work in the Red Pill. Rollo and I are basically on the same page. I'm not a sit poolside guy. If you are, I think that's fine for the most part because you're not in the way. You're not a vicious male. You're not a traitor. You're not actively working against men. You're not actively working against Western civilization. You're not actively working against rationality and living in a rational, free society. So guys who sit poolside, that's fine. You're not in the way. And you got to lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. That's how I see it. I'm with Rollo on this, though. Like, I think the West can be saved. I don't think it needs to collapse. And then somehow we pick it up and fix, the broken pieces. I think that could happen. That's an option, but it's like the worst option we could take. That still produce something positive.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, whether it's politics or whether it's cultural stuff now, it's an uphill battle for sure. But I think we are kind of like Jonathan, Modern Life Dating, was saying earlier in the show. A lot of what we're seeing in politics and on psychology, these are animals backed into a corner who are losing, and they know they're losing. They're getting desperate, and they're getting more aggressive and more hostile. They wear more pussy hats. They're more violent. They're more chaotic. They're more unhinged. They're more unhappy. The drinking rates are going up. Yeah. I saw Rollo last year, I think, post a good article. It was a study showing that women in their 50s now, the alcoholism is like skyrocketing.
Yeah, I've said that antidepressants is through the roof as well.
Yeah, and cat food, all that stuff. The stocks are going through the roof.
I know. Yeah, but what also is happening is you're seeing more. There's also a rise in sex dolls. There's also a rise in interest in sex robots and in artificial wombs. And how can we? It's almost as if we're on this course to find different and more unique ways to separate the genders, to break that apart.
I want to finish out on this, and I don't think I've said this publicly before, but not in this clarity anyway. So I've talked about the future as masculine, making a masculine, positive, rational future for America and for the West. What that means is kind of like what Rollo is hitting off the tradcons. They don't want the red pill. They don't want the truth. They want a time machine to go back when things were a little bit better in certain ways. I'm not for that. I'm not a tradcon. I think people have accused me at some points of being that way because I'm like very pro-family. But what I believe what the West needs and what America needs is a positive, rational, masculine future. Which means we need something we've never had before at that scale and at that level, and that's also independent of religion and tradition. Some religious components are really awesome. Like I was raised Catholic, I'm not anymore, haven't been for a long time. But some of the Catholic, Christian, Mormon stuff is pretty solid. Some of it I disagree with, and that's fine. I don't expect other adult men to have my identical beliefs. It's fucking retarded. But I do want to look back in history and what's useful, pull that into something that's rational focused, evolution focused, natural focused, and build that into something that men and women can focus on going forward in life, going forward into the future of America and the West, which we don't have right now. But I think the Red Pill, the Red Man Group, 21 Convention, and the Manosphere overall, we're the tip of the spear for that. And that's why it is in part an uphill battle. We are shunned and quarantined literally sometimes on major websites and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, we will win. It's going to take a long time. The undoing damage of feminism is a multi-decade generational change. Yeah,
and it has to happen for sure. It has to happen from the bottom up is what it has to be. It has to be like each one tell one. That's like the thing about MRAs as well is MRAs have been around for a very long time and they've effectively done nothing.
And I would say too, like that we are guys like us, we're on the forefront of the grassroots movement. Look, guys, bottom line this shit. Donald Trump won the presidency being a brash man who says like grab her by the pussy. Yeah, the whole fucking world saw it.
Yeah.
And the fucking silent majority voted him in. People, what we're talking about here, people are craving it. I have women messaging me on Instagram saying like, I want a strong alpha leader. Okay. Men and women both want this deep down inside, but the big three are fucking in the way. Government, media, and corporations. And those are the big three that are also losing right now. We're on the forefront of this. My personal Lord and Savior, Donald J. Trump, is going to win the presidency again. Okay. And he's going to undo all of this shit just by being the badass masculine man that he is. He's going to win this whole wall situation. He's going to get the government unshut down because he's a man's man. Rollo, you're an older man. Rich, Donovan, all those guys. You have seen the times when men were masculine, rugged men, and now you see the sissy, frissy, girly men running around these days. And that is why women have become what they have. There is a reversal occurring, though. Men like me are standing up. Men on this panel are standing up. The men in the chat who watch us religiously, these men are living the lives of and are leading by example, being these strong masculine characters. So we are going to change these things. But for the men listening, you have to listen to what we say and pass it forward. Like Rollo says, and this is not a plug for you to buy his shit, but at the same time it is. Like, buy his book and then pass it forward. Share the videos. Start your own blog. Start your own podcast. Write your own book. That's how we win this.
I'll pile on this and say that everyone here on the panel knows, and a lot of the audience, that I had a toxic relationship a few years ago. A couple of other guys in this panel have too. Rollo has a pretty infamous BPD relationship from his 20s. And what happened with me with that is that I found myself exiting that toxic relationship, lasted 4.5 years, similar to Rollo's. But I was also a YouTuber. I had, by the time that split happened, pseudo divorce, I had like 95,000 subscribers on YouTube and stuff. And I had a media organization and an event and a company. And I decided to stand up on a stage and tell the truth, best I knew it and best I could, tell the facts of what the fuck happened. That inadvertently was slut shaming at one of the highest levels I think we've seen in culture in recent years. That video I gave, Marrying Medusa, How to Survive a Female Psychopath, that's gone on to accumulate about 400,000 views. Almost 500,000 men have seen that. And men have told me, I've gotten more emails from that particular video than any video I have ever released in the history of the convention. It is like personal emails, I guess because I'm the founder as well. It was a very unique combination of elements, putting that on the internet and filming that. But it saved guys' lives. It's guys who have, at the brink of suicide have emailed me from that saying it saved them. It pulled them back from that experience, or from pulling the trigger on that. And not even just suicide, but things approaching that. Guys in serious depression, guys who were put to the dry cleaners or through, BPD relationship with a chick who was mentally fucking disordered, not knowing what to do, where to turn. And they in turn have become fans of the convention. They become fans of the Red Man Group. They become fans. They've joined the Red Pill. They've joined the Manosphere because of that speech. So that's something I did on a very personal level that I built from scratch. I built my company from scratch. I founded it with $100 when I was 17. And at 27 years old, I think I was when I gave the talk. That's now gone on to impact from the bottom up, like Rollo was talking about, like 500,000 men. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't get banned from YouTube, it'll probably hit 1 million someday.
I see guys. 1 million men. I see guys in the chat here who are saying like, well, we're all going to go to hell anyways, right? It's all. Well, what happens if it all just collapses? And by all indications, sure, it might look like. But who would you rather have be the one to help you rebuild it? Who would you rather have, positioned to be right there to rebuild society or rebuild something else? Are we going to rebuild it based on a feminine primary model, or are we going to make it on a masculine primary model?
I'll even go simpler than that, Rollo. You say it yourself, and you say it all the time, that to be your own masculine center of origin. So why is everybody here now focused on saving like the world? How do I save everybody else? Like, fuck, aren't you supposed to be your own mental point of origin? I'm not arguing with you guys. I get it. Like, there's grassroots stuff. If an opportunity presents itself, take it. Yeah. But at the same time, if you haven't treated you as the number one concern over your life,
that's right.
It doesn't matter if the zombies are coming by or not. You're not going to be in any position to capitalize on it.
Right. my response to that, because I'm with the same page. I agree 100% from a philosophic point of view. Even above and beyond the red pill, which Rollo is 100% right. You need to be your own mental point of origin. Philosophically, too, I believe fundamentally in rational self-interest. At the same time, what I've talked about in my speeches is that this is our home. The state of Florida is my home. My country is my home. I don't just view my home as the house I live in. I view it as the civilization, the country, and the culture I live in. So for me, it's taking personal responsibility for the world I live in, for the culture, the institutions, the structures, extended family, friends. These are people I value that I don't want to die. I don't want to see my friends get divorce raped like they are, get taken to the cleaners and get suicidal and kill themselves. I've seen enough.
You have no control over that, though. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. You've tried to help a lot of guys, and they just ignore you completely.
Yeah, but
At
I
some
still
point, you
see
just
it
got to
as-
realize all you can really do is like give them your best
But, you know,
advice and then be a good example.
It's
and let them do what they
triage.
do.
It's triage. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. You know, so just we were just talking about like what Brad Pitt and Bezos and all that. You know, I was just saying, you know, these guys are generally beta guys who live their entire lives very beta, and so that at some point the piper's going to come for his tune, right? Well, another guy that's getting that right now is Neil Strauss. Neil Strauss is in for a divorce himself, which I think is really interesting, considering this guy was supposed to be this premier pickup artist, and that's interesting because he hasn't really hit on the pickup artist thing for a very long time. But as soon as he's in a divorce, then Jezebel and Huffington Post and everybody comes, oh, the former pickup artist is getting a divorce, and it's like he hasn't talked about that in ages. He's got a book that like completely denounces pickup artistry, but he still can't get away from the stink of the pickup artist, right? And I think that he is a really good example of this. This guy is somebody who was unable to kill his beta. He was unable to really take the red pill. He might have been an okay pickup artist at some point in his life, but that doesn't make you red pill, man.
I mean, he did the opposite. He basically tried to kill his alpha side. He basically turned on himself.
We got another call. We should do it.
Yeah,
we're getting close. We should do some more calls.
Yeah. Real quick, I've got a super chat in here by Hoki Bukisa.
Hoki Pinoki.
Yes, listen, $4.99 super chat. Listen to this. He says, do you guys think that a quote unquote horrorfacts.com kind of site would help? Shame works, but it would be behind the scenes kind of slut shaming. I think we briefly discussed this. Like,
There was one.
There was one called don'tdatehimgirl.com. I think that was like the female version of this.
Yeah, but it would be different, right? Because if girls say, oh my God, the Donovan's had sex with 125 women, we shouldn't date him. No, chicks are going to be on my dick because of that.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Listen, dudes ain't trying to bang chicks that have fucked 256 dudes last year. Like, nobody's trying to do that. It's just.
Well, that's what Facebook was originally. And didn't they get taken to court? Well, that and IP protections.
Oh, wow. I did.
What we need
That was
is
Zuckerberg created Facebook to spy on his girlfriend. That's
Like, what we
the girls he
need-
wanted to get with.
It was
we
to
need
rape
is a-
girls around the campus.
What, Oh my God! What we need is a dark web horfax that can't be taken down, like some off the internet one.
And everything. I'm traditional. I can cook. I can suck, and I can fuck. Really? Show me the hoe facts.
Yes. What's your VIN number?
Let's get a call. Let's get a call in here. Let's get a call.
Man, area code 816. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Hey, question for you. Yeah, thank you. So I've been reading and listening to all your guys' work, and I've been trying to get a good, well-rounded perspective on everything. One of the guys that kind of stood out to me now is Dr. Warren Farrell, and I'm not sure if you've probably heard of him in the space, but he wrote a book called The Myth of Male Power. And this kind of goes back to, I want to ask Rollo and Richard, being the fathers and some of the elders in the group here, what they think about it. And kind of go to your comment, Rollo, earlier about moving forward into the future and what this means for the world. He kind of argues that women have a proper role that they could play forward in society in the way that they can contribute more to the household income. Dads can stay home with their kids more. And some of the things that feminism may bring some benefits to men, especially because, as he talks about mostly in this book, that guys have the most dangerous jobs. They're more willing to take the crappiest jobs. They work more hours and all those things. But do you think that fits with the future you guys envision with the red pill, or is that going to destabilize society a little too much?
That's a good question. Rollo, you want to take?
I have kind of a love-hate relationship with Dr. Farrell. I read, and this was back before I was unplugged. This is back when I was a wee lad.
Real quick, Rollo, Ryan's signing off. Ryan,
Okay.
appreciate your time, dude.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Spot
Ryan.
time. Enjoy this.
See you, bro.
Late. Hey, so anyways, I read a book back in the 90s called Why Men Are the Way They Are. And that was the book that introduced me to Dr. Warren Farrell. I thought it was a fantastic book. He really kind of laid out the vision for hypergamy, really, that when I came to believe is hypergamy, right? I mean, as far as my definition is concerned, my more broader scope, he really got into the detail in that. I really liked it. If people will say, well, Rollo, when did you get unplugged? I think it was probably with that book, because he had some really good insights. Now you have to understand Farrell's history. He used to be a member of NOW back in the 70s. He was a male feminist that kind of saw the writing on the wall and had his own kind of lightweight unplugging, I think. The problem that I have with Farrell today is that he is the MRA's sweetheart. And the reason he is because he still believes in the feminist lie. And the feminist lie is that it's all about equality. And we can live in an egalitarian society, and an egalitarian marriage is our ideal. We're all going to play fair. And the feminists had it right. It's just that their man-hating didn't lead them to becoming perfected. It's like they want to have the feminists always say it's about equality, and we want to have egalitarian parity between the genders. First of all, that's impossible because equality doesn't exist between the sexes. I'm not saying one is superior over the other. I'm just saying that they are complementary to each other. But what he goes through is he basically tries to. He's got all this information and all of this evidence and all of these. He's great at statistics. He just has a new book out called The Boy Crisis, where he gets into what I talk about, how we're raising our boys as if they're defective girls. But the problem that he gets into is he still believes in the Jung psychology. He believes that men can be half woman and half man, and women can be half man and half woman, and we can just be better if we're just have a balance of our masculine and our feminine energies. I completely reject that. I think that we are born into our genders, and depending on how we associate with them and how we identify with those genders, that sort of directs the way that our life goes and what we're going to be, whether we're going to be influenced by, say, the feminine primary society, or we're going to reject that. So I think he has rejected. I think Farrell would reject the red pill. I think he would reject the red pill because he thinks that it's a possibility to live in an egalitarian, equalist marriage, or marriage, and I mean a state of intimacy between men and women. It doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. So when you're talking about, well, isn't it great that men can be stay-at-home fathers? Well, if you look at stay-at-home fathers, they end up getting divorced. I mean, statistically, they end up getting divorced more. When women earn more money than men, I mean, Tucker Carlson has done all kinds of exposés about this, about how, in fact, he just got in trouble. I think Red Lobster just dumped him from as a sponsor because he said, he almost went all the way. He said, that it was because of women in the workforce that men are in the state that they're in right now. And he's 100% right. It's nothing that I haven't heard.
He was quoting Elizabeth Warren or something.
Yeah, it is nothing I haven't heard from, like, say, any mainstream MGTOW. Right? He's basically saying that the reason the fertility rates are declining, the reason that men are in decline when it comes, socioeconomically, is because we have so overly advantaged women in the workforce and so overly compensated women. I mean, that's one of the reasons I say that there's no such thing as egalitarianism, because their idea of egalitarianism is, how can we disadvantage men and how can we completely grossly advantage women? That's their idea of equality, and that's not the mistaken idea that they say feminism is the mistaken idea, or the idea that women are people too. No, feminism is the idea of retribution and restitution, and that's really what it comes down to. So he's got all of this information sitting in front of him. He just wants to ignore it. The same thing, I would say the same thing. He's one of these guys that really frustrates me. Like, I would say the same thing of Jordan Peterson. I would say the same thing of Dr. Steven Pinker. These are guys who have all of this great information sitting in front of them, and they will say, like, I've heard Dr. Pinker say this. He says men are. He went through this whole dissertation one time of the differences between men and women, gender differences between men and women, statistical, empirically proven research on the differences between men and women, and he'll say men tend to be more interested in things, women tend to be more interested in people. Right? Men are idealistic, women are opportunistic. It's basically the same. It's pretty much repeating what I've said about the different concepts of love between the sexes. And so he'll say something like that, and he'll go through this really, like, hour-long dissertation about the differences in the genders, and then at the end of his dissertation he'll say, but I'm really a feminist, and I really think that we should be able to get we should be able to reach for egalitarian parity between the sexes. Right? It's like you basically had an hour saying the exact opposite, but then now you're going to say that you believe in that. And the reason they do that is exactly what we're talking about in the beginning here, is because you've got governing bodies like the APA who say you have to go by this, and if you don't, and if you rock the boat, and if you speak against that, then you're going to lose your tenure. Then you're going to lose your license. Then you're going to lose. And then we have science denial in academia right now because it doesn't fit in with a feminine primary narrative. We used to laugh at creationists, right? We used to say they're science deniers, because they believe in Noah's Ark and the book of Genesis. We would laugh at them because they're conservative and they're Christians. But you look at people who are denying the science that is sitting right there in front of them, and I would say they're worse, because those people in academia get to decide what is official and what is not.
Well, feminism is their new religion.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Totally.
So I would say
this too.
I like Dr. I'm just to sum this up. I like Dr. Warren Farrell. I like what he writes. I think he's got some really great research. I just don't think he has the right solutions.
Bro, I want to pile on this and add and see what the panel thinks too. So guys like Warren Farrell and Steven Pinkard, even Paul Elam to an extent, but those two primarily, Warren Farrell and Steven Pinkard, what they remind me of are men who are very intelligent, who are very well spoken, who are very well researched, who write and understand men, but they have no understanding of women. Like when I see those guys talk on video, I see a guy who fundamentally does not understand women on a very personal micro level, does not fucking get it, would not fuck them, does not know how to fuck them, has gotten laid, of course, probably at some point in their lives, but fundamentally has never been like that guy, quote unquote. And I think that holds them back massively. That's what Rollo, you don't have that. You do understand women.
No, I do.
You have a 40. Yeah.
Well, I have my life experience on top of all this other shit. But the thing is like one of the reasons why I guess official Evo Psych, like one of the reasons like why Jeffrey Miller doesn't like me. Okay, maybe he does now, but one of the reasons like guys like Jeffrey Miller, Diana Fleischman, or like maybe even Marty Hasselton, one of the reasons that they don't like me is because I'm willing to go where they won't go. I will go and I'll take their research and I'll say, yes, the reason why we're in the state, the reason why women's psyche is thus is because of all of this stuff you've got, all the research you've given me. I'm just the one that's taking it beyond that because I'm willing to do that. I got nothing to lose by doing that. They do. They could lose their tenure. They could lose their license.
I like Jeffrey Miller a lot too, but even he's a guy who kind of isn't. He's younger, I think, but even in the same boat, it's like, is this a guy who really gets women? Who's really able to go out and pick up women, have the same that layer where she's dripping over your dick?
Because he is still blue pill, and he won't give himself permission to do that. He won't give himself permission to take the kind of the information that he has and make it applicable. That's what the red pill will do. That's why they don't like the red pill. They think, oh, it's dogmatic. Oh, it's a religion. Or Rollo's the high priest of the manosphere. So I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just taking your shit and I'm taking it to the logical where you should have taken it.
So my point here, though, is what I'm seeing is I see a fundamental difference in your personality and psychology and how you interact with women. It's not just your life experience, Rollo. That's a huge part of it. You have a phenomenal relationship with your wife. I've talked to her. I had like a half-hour conversation with her at the pool that one night. She's, with all the pool and shit at the convention. She's fucking awesome. Like she's cool as shit. And I know, seeing her talk with you, that she is totally all about, she's in love with you 21 years after that you guys met. You get women, and she's an example of that, a powerful one, in addition to your life experience. Where these academics, these guys who understand men and write about the stuff and look at the research and are good scientists and good thinkers, they don't get women on a very personal level. And it's a huge blind spot for them. They just don't fucking get it. And until they do, they're never going to turn it around, I think.
There's a big reason for that, Anthony. Look, science, again, I have a psychology degree. Science is too stifled by proper procedure and, organization, all these things. Like, if you really want to understand women on a carnal nature, you need to go out and fuck them. All right. And that's the real
in-field experience.
That is the real truth. And that's politically incorrect. If you really want to study women, right, this is what you need to do. You need to strap a camera and a microphone on some dude and be like, all right, Chad, get out there and, rage on these hoes. Come back when you're 50 notches deep with all your data. Then that is like when people will be like, holy fucking shit.
She was married. She got a boyfriend. She's engaged. She got married the day after she fucked Chad. It happens, guys.
And this is how you've articulated exactly what I was getting at in a better way than I did, that the real research is banging women. And that's exactly what these guys are not doing. Right. How many times has Steven Pinkard gone out and slayed pussy at a bar? Picked the
You
girl
know.
up, brought her home, fucked her, and like that's anecdotal research, right?
That reminded me, and I had to go dig up this quote because I used this in one of my posts called Game Works. Okay, this is Nick Krauser. Nick Krauser said this. He said the body of infield evidence collected by 15 years of pickup artistry is far more reliable and valid than anything social science produced on seduction.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I mean. It's like these guys will go and do infield stuff. I mean, because they can't make this an experiment that happens inside the lab. They can't make it an experiment because of an ethics violation. Well, I can't go. I was just looking at this story here just a minute ago about how this guy who was teaching pickup or whatever in Scotland, and the guy was arrested for like a hate crime or for something because he was teaching men to be predatory towards women. It's like, no, he's teaching men how to approach women. And I don't know who the guy was. I think it was like it started with an A. I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, it was a weird name.
So the guy is out there, he's working it. He's trying to be a pickup artist. He's trying to help guys and stuff. And they're going to, but the state of the feminine, the state of the sisterhood is that is illegal. And we're going to take him off the streets or something.
It's interesting when men help other men try to figure out how to get what we want out of women, which is sex. But when women help other women to get what they want out of men, which is resources and security, nobody shames those guys, right? Like a woman goes out and she gets like 19 or 20 guys to buy her an iPhone, and she is exalted and revered and all this other kind of stuff. But then we got a guy out in Southern California who's doing the dine and dash. He figured out how to get these bitches to pay for his meals. All of a sudden, he's public enemy number one.
Yep.
It's literally the same thing.
Bullshit.
Let's go back to the phone lines. I've got 5 more minutes, and then I got to jump here.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to close it out. Let's do one more, and then we'll go.
All right, so let's go to, looks like we've got a caller from outside the U.S. Caller, you're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep. Oh, cool. I'm calling from Bulgaria.
Oh, wow. Bulgaria.
I've been Red Pill for the past 1 year. I stumbled upon Rollo's book because of Research Channel. So I just got off monk mode like a month ago or 2. And I'm currently spinning 3 plates and with a 4th one in the making. And this is where things get interesting. I'm working at a software startup, and the guy that is giving us the office space, I mean, he's a millionaire. He's a powerful guy. But he obviously doesn't have game because his wife there's something going on with these guys. And she's giving me some looks, and I'm pretty certain things can happen with her. She's pretty hot, for as hot as a 40-year-old can be, I think. So I'm really interested in doing something with her. But I'm thinking of going and asking this guy if he's okay with it, because they've been along for a very long time. And if he's okay, I'm going to do it. And if not, I'm not interested in.
1 second, caller. Let me ask you this question. This 40-year-old woman,
Sure.
Maybe I missed this. Do you work with her?
The boss's wife, man.
He's not working with.
So it's the boss's wife. Is that what you're talking about?
He's not the boss, because it's kind of complicated. I mean, my company does not depend on him. I mean, we can move anywhere, but he's this powerful guy with money, and I don't want to make him an enemy. So if I think I'm asking you, what do you think if I go?
Yeah, you need to, dude. Listen. You need to leave her alone, dude. Like,
walk away, bro. You fucking crazy?
Yeah, like, dude, why fuck that guy's woman? There are at least 3.5 billion other vaginas waiting for Bulgarian guys to fuck them. And you want to fuck the one who might be shooting you indicators of interest. And oh, by the way, she happens to belong to one of the most powerful people you know, dude. Not even close to worth it. I get calls and texts all the time from guys telling me, hey, there's this really hot girl and I really think she wants to fuck me, but there's just one issue. I work with her, or she's related to somebody. No. Pussy is a dime a dozen. Pussy is a commodity. There's too much of it around for you to risk your livelihood and possible connections and networking opportunities to fuck a girl that you're not even 100% sure if you want to fuck. It's not. That's my stance. It's not worth it. Walk away.
Go learn game. Why is this even like a possibility for you?
Exactly.
Why is this even entering your brain? Why is this even a thought?
I'm going to answer this question and all future questions like this. If you were calling in about a particular woman who is not pregnant with what you believe is your child, or you're going through a divorce or something, or a breakup or something, we don't want to hear about it. Like, if you're gonna maybe fuck this one chick, dude, you've already failed calling him with the question.
Yes.
You're asking the same damn question that every other dude wants to know. You want us to give you permission to do something stupid. We're not going to give it to you. We're going to hang up the phone and tell you that's a stupid question. You need to stop making stupid choices.
90% of these guys know the answer to their question. I hear this all the time, like when Rich and Dr. Sean do their things. Like, they call in, and all I have to do, and sometimes I'll just lurk in the chat and I'll tell Rich, I'll say, just ask him this, and all the times it's like, how old is the girl? Does she have kids? Was she married before? Those are the things you have to run down first, because it's all these guys are going, I'm red pill, and then they're just saying, oh, well, who are you fixating on? A 49-year-old girl named Lauren Sanchez.
No, the 45-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
they're already in this girl's frame. Like, why are you calling up a show asking about this one
red
chick?
group on a 40-year-old? Like, and again, we don't do this to be hard on you guys, but if you're calling us, asking us permission to do something that you're questioning, you already know the answer. You know you shouldn't be doing it. You're just calling us to give you permission, just like Anthony just said, to do something stupid. We're never going to give you permission to do something stupid.
Yeah.
No,
you know the answer to your question.
Listen,
you know the answer to the question before you call in.
Don't fuck the HR. Yep. Like, my HR director is giving me the eye. So don't.
And if we need more than 5 seconds of backstory on something, like, it's already a failed question. There's two. You're not asking a question. You're telling a story with a lead up to probably a stupid question about a 47-year-old woman who is your new sweetheart. You want her to be. You work with her. She's the boss's wife. She's got 4 children from 3 baby daddies. It's like every time, man. Like, cut the backstory out, slim it down, minimize it, and get to a real question that does not involve a particular woman. We care about you calling in, not some girl you met or this girl or that girl. You're the caller. You have a question. You need answers. We want to help you, not help you do stupid shit. We want to help you do good shit that's, like, smart, not bad.
All right, good stuff, man. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, let's wrap up. Appreciate everybody being on today, including Ryan Stone, who hopped off. This is the end of episode 49, one of the first of the new year. And everybody check out the video description for links to support the show. There's, of course, the Patreon for Redman Group at patreon.com/Redman Group. We used to be on Reddit. We're now banned. Haha, street cred, motherfuckers. We also have a direct PayPal donation. We have a podcast that'll be linked in there soon. At Podbean, that'll be on iTunes very soon. Swear to God, it's going to get done. And also, there's a link in there to 21 University. It is a link that if you click it and join 21 University with a free trial, you will support the Redman Group in the process. And you'll get early advance access to 21 Studios content, podcast, speeches, including Rolo's speech right now. You get early access to it rather than waiting a few weeks for YouTube. And there's no ads on it, and it supports 21 Studios, and it supports Redman Group. So it's a cool link to join. You'll also find links to every panelist on the show, including myself, Rolo, Brian, Donovan, and Modern Life Dating. Gentlemen, any closing comments before we roll out?
Yeah, I'm off to Atlantic City, man.
I think so. Typically, Donovan and I do a post wrap-up show. So I think me and Steve the Dean, we're going to do a little mini one, just post Red Pill show. And so if you guys want to continue watching, check us out on The Man Mindset on YouTube. Me and Steve the Dean just going to be over there chatting. And follow me on Instagram at Modern Life Dating. And yeah, that's all I've got to say.
I was just going to say, wait till if you, just to sum this whole talk up, just wait till you see the video that I did for the 21 convention. I think that's going to be controversial. I'm especially now, like, what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks here in the manosphere. Honest to God, it's like when we were making all these predictions back on the 29th, and then when I was doing the talk, I didn't realize it was going to happen quite as fast as it has happened. I think a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about, I'm seeing, just the beginning stages of things. So it makes me wonder what things are going to be like when we get into the election cycle and the sisterhood just decides that we're going to have a protest march every weekend, just like the Yellow Vests right now. Imagine that, but you've got women doing it. Because they're marching for rights that they already have, right? So I was going to say, so anyways, what I'm doing tomorrow, I'm going to be doing Red Pill 101 with Pat And I will also be doing the Red Pill and Religion, my debut show with Dr. Paul Maxwell So look for that. It's going to be at 6:30 Eastern tomorrow.
On your channel?
It'll be your Sunday school for the Red Pill.
Is it
I'm gonna.
Rolo?
What's that?
Is that going to be on your channel, the religion thing?
Yeah, it will be. It'll be on my channel.
Yeah, I'm in, man. I'm in.
Yeah. Come and check it out. I can't take calls just yet, and in fact, I don't think I want to just yet. I want to give it at least a couple of shows before I do. I mean, I'm always looking at the chat, of course, and people want to ask questions, but this might end up becoming something that if you have a guy who you're trying to sort of unplug, and he's very religious, he's like, oh, I don't want those red pill guys. It's just all about pickup artistry, and I don't believe in premarital sex. And this is the show that you want to introduce him to.
The Church of Tomasi. I love it. There it is.
I won't go that far, but
Reverend Rolo. Reverend Rolo.
Reverend Rolo.
Well, you know what? I have tried so damn long to get Dalrock to do something like this, and it's like I have to. There's such a need for it that I decided I'm going to do it.
Dalrock's a fucking genius. This guy, he really is, man. Oh my!
I'm going to close out with saying that Rolo's keynote address at the 21 Convention 2018, the Woodstock of the Manosphere. Title of it was The State of the Manosphere. It is already streaming with a free trial at 21 University. Link is in the description. Also supports RMG. And it will be on YouTube right around the same time as President Trump's State of the Union. It'll be the Manosphere response to the State of the Union. So probably January 22nd, maybe a day before, maybe a day after, but coming soon at 21 Studios on YouTube. And I'm excited to release it on a very personal and professional level. For me, it's our nuclear weapon / Moab, our video Moab. We're going to drop Mother of All Bombs on YouTube. It's going to be an excellent start to the year, excellent start to the speeches. And I think it's going to put all of our other speakers from the conference on a very good foundation for the rest of the year from speeches from the 2018 event. So we're going to kill it. We're going to crush it. And hey, some guy in the chat just mentioned 21U. Yeah, it's free to join, man. So you don't even need money. Just cancel before you get the billing. We're going to roll out. That's enough bragging about my own shit and pumping up other stuff. I appreciate you guys being on. Appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, visit us on Patreon and iTunes and Podbean, all that stuff. And we'll see you next week at probably 11 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday.
It's working better.
And join in for the Patriarchs on Thursday at 8:30
every other Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday.
Okay, every other Thursday, 8:30 p.m., Redman Group Patriarchs. That is for fathers, fatherhood, husband, marriage, family, divorce, parenting, everything like that from a Red Pill perspective. All right, I'm signing off, and everybody hit the like button like it's the matriarchy. Peace.
All right, guys.